Hello, everybody. We are here with UCM Esports in the College League of Legends tournament. Today we have UCM Esports versus Waldorf University.
Yes, that is going to be a very exciting match. As of right now, I looked at the statistics, and both teams are 0-3 right now. So somebody's going to be coming out a winner today.
Somebody is going to be coming out a winner. Sadly, it can't be both of them. This is League of Legends, so
Yes.
somebody has to be a loser here. Um, so now we're going to get into what we saw last week from UCM specifically. More so their issues because they didn't win. A big issue that I saw from last match was the set
The
pick
set
there.
was a huge decider on the last two games that they did. On the first match, set was just coming in, giving out the RKOs, making sure giving the 1-2 to the good old top laner, and he was just the one deciding the team fights. And then after such a loss after the first match, they didn't ban him the second match,
That is true.
and that led to just another wipeout.
It did. He is a very strong pick right now. I do believe there are some nerfs coming down the
Probably
pipeline for
he is
him
pretty
and
good.
his W. And we are going to get into the champ select now. Let's get this going. All right, so we do have Waldorf making the first ban here. Let's see what they ban.
Ooh, the Mordekaiser. That's definitely a top lane ban right there. Definitely get the 3 auto attacks in. He gets the passive area of effect damage, and his ultimate isolates people. So that's a strong pick.
And we have the Ornn ban from UCM. Now that is an extremely good ban. Ornn is in a great spot right now, and I am happy to see him out of the game.
And that's going to be a brand pick out of there. That's a champ you don't really see too much in competitive comps, but that he does do high bursting
Yeah,
damage.
and he's more so a support these days.
Yeah,
I
you don't
rarely
really
see him
see
in
him
mid.
mid,
Yeah,
no.
he's support. All right, the second ban coming out of UCM is Vladimir. Vlad can be an extremely devastating opponent if you do not know how to play against him. His team fight prowess with the ultimate and the pull makes him pretty dominant.
And coming out is going to be the Elysian ban. That's definitely a jungler who has high damage. She has a transformation, so she'll either be in her human form or her spider form. She can, jump in and out of fights in a second and just do some bursting damage. So
Specifically, they pick her for her pick potential with the cocoon. That stun
that
is a
stun
very
is
long range
yeah.
stun. It's really nice. And the last ban coming out from UCM is the Warwick. Warwick's ultimate specifically is what people pick him for. It does high damage, it heals them, and it snares the opponent. So that is a strong jungle pick there.
So coming out of Waldorf, we got the Sejuani jungle pick. And then coming out of UCM is going to be a Renekton top lane. So we got the top lane for UCM, Renekton. He's going to be really strong early game, but he's just going to start, falling off.
That is correct. He falls off later in the game. He is very powerful early, does great damage, has high stuns. If you do if you do want to take a Renekton down, you should try later in the game. As long as you don't feed him early, you should be good. And the second pick from UCM is the Nocturne. So Nocturne jungle here from UCM. Nocturne is somebody you don't see too often. His ultimate is
It's
very
pretty
long
scary.
range.
It's
Yeah,
pretty scary.
very long range. If and there's no escaping it. So if he ults your ADC,
ADCs beware.
beware. If you don't have, especially if you don't have flash up,
Oh, yeah.
Nocturne can be very high damage. But I do believe he's a big risk there. If he doesn't get at least a few kills early in the game,
Might be a liability.
yeah.
Coming out of Waldorf, we do have Nasus to go against that Renekton top lane. Now Nasus, his Q can infinitely stack
That's true.
if he keeps autoing the minions with it. So we'll see if Nasus can get his stacks on. They got to make sure they put pressure on him.
I also want to say that we have brothers fighting each other now.
Yeah,
Nasus and Renekton are brothers
Two
also,
Ascenders.
so they do have some special VO lines there that they say to each other. That should be an interesting match. And the third pick coming out of Waldorf is the Victor. And there we have the Syndra locked in also for UCM, so that should be a great matchup there. They are both high damage, high burst mid lanes there. Should be very volatile.
Coming out of UCM, we are going to see Thresh ban for the support. Thresh, very strong support. He can kind of make or break team fights. He has two forms of CC. He has the hook, which lingers on, and then the pull, which also gives a knockup.
He does. He has great pick potential. And coming out of Waldorf is the Draven ban, the League of Draven, as he likes to say at least. he has very high damage ADC there. It's great to see him banned out.
Coming out of UCM, we got the Caitlyn ban. Now she's a pretty overall good ban. She has pretty long range with
Very
her
long
autos.
range.
Yeah, and her ultimate is not global, but it does go pretty far as long as she has vision on the person.
And it is locked in, by the way. So if she does ult, it is locked in. You cannot dodge it, but it can be intercepted by other teammates of yours. And from Waldorf, the last ban is the Janna. Janna, I haven't seen too much of in this meta. It's mostly a caster or more of a tank support meta. So I'm interested to see what they were looking at to make them ban the Janna there.
Now UCM does pick the Misfortune as the ADC. Misfortune, now she's just going to be doing high damage,
Very
and her
strong.
ultimate is going to be able to help out with not only team fights, but objective taking too.
Yeah, she is very strong at the moment. That Q in lane is a massive harass. But Waldorf has some harass of their own in the form of Ashe. Ashe's Q, volley, is very, very pesky in lane. Can be hard to deal with, especially if she has a tanky support, which the support from Waldorf should be coming out now.
Think she's going to go Arcane Comet, or?
I mean, ooh, and Braum is the support pick there for Waldorf.
With Leona coming out of UCM too, both two tanky.
Very tanky.
People.
So
I think Leona does have a bit of the better engage.
Yeah.
With she has a stun and her long range Q, so she should be able to get the fights going on. But Braum has more protective qualities.
Yes, Braum, and I do believe Braum is a great pick to help protect that Ashe. Ashe is very immobile. She has no form of escapes, as Misfortune doesn't have a hard escape, but she does have her passive, that strut, I believe it's called, that allows her to run at various speeds that pretty much outclass any other ADC. But Braum is a great pick there to help protect that Ashe. These are two very good comps that I'm looking at here. The Nocturne there, a bit iffy, but if he plays it well.
I was a bit concerned with the Janna support ban. I thought like maybe that UCM would be the one doing it, but let's see here.
So we do have a slight spectator delay, but in the meantime, I would encourage you to visit our Facebook page at UCM Esports. We do post a lot there. We also have the application for tryouts there on our Facebook page. By March 1st, you should try that out. Yes, we also have the Twitter here at UCM Esports. We post on there. We let you know game times, scrim times. You can kind of communicate with the players there. It is great to have you there. We hope to see you.
We also have our Discord right here at UCM Esports Discord. This is where you can see, talk to the players, see whenever they're gaming, maybe chat up with them for a little bit.
And last but not least, we have our Instagram. Here we have pictures of our gaming space, our players, our campus, the beautiful UCM campus here, and we encourage you to visit that. In the meantime, we are going to play a short video here for you, kind of detailing the basics of League of Legends. Enjoy.
Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Mason, and I'll be going over the basics of the game before we begin. League of Legends is a MOBA, a multiplayer online battle arena. The game consists of 2 teams of 5 players, who will choose their champions to play as, each with their own special set of abilities. Each player has a specific role to fill in a certain area of the map, called lanes. Top lane usually consists of tanks and bruisers, characters that can take a lot of hits. Mid lane is usually for mages and assassins, who deal a lot of damage in a small amount of time. Bot lane has 2 players in it for each team, the AD carry and support. The ADC is someone that does a lot of damage from a long distance, and the support stays with them in order to keep them protected. Finally, the jungler has no set lane. They roam around in between the lanes in an area known as the jungle, killing monsters and jumping in to attack whatever lane needs help, an action known as ganking. The objective of the game is to push each lane forward, killing minions and destroying turrets that protect the enemy. Killing other players rewards gold, which can buy items and make your characters more powerful. The game ends when one team pushes all the way into the opponent's base, destroying this structure, called the Nexus, and winning the game.
everybody. We are back here. Right now, we're going to discuss the team compositions here and what we kind of see and what we think during the loading screen here. Personally, I think Waldorf may have the better comp here, simply because I see the Nocturne coming out of UCM.
That is kind of the win condition. If they cannot get Nocturne, at least being able to get a little bit of kills going,
Hold
or
his
just like
own.
sustain, like he's more going to be a liability in the end.
Yeah, he definitely has to do something there to help himself out. We do not want to see him be a liability. Hopefully, he can get some great ults in on the Ashe, but she does have her Braum protecting her. I will say that it's hard to cut through that Braum there.
Oh no, it's definitely, especially with his shield up, it reduces almost all the damage that is coming his way, and he can just zoom onto his ADC or whoever he's protecting.
And I do remember you asked if the Ashe was going to be running the Comet. As you can see here, she is not running Arcane Comet, so she will most likely not be building that Trinity Force there. And as you can see here too, UCM is rocking one skin.
I mean,
Just kind of a solo queue type thing there.
It's whatever.
Yeah.
I personally like the skins.
So we have four skins versus one skin. If we were going off skins right now, Waldorf is crushing.
Right, Waldorf is crushing.
UCM.
I will say I will like to see how the top lane battles go out. We do have Nasus and Renekton, who both just can lifesteal. I mean,
Yeah.
Renekton, one of his abilities just steals health away, and then Nasus passively starts with every death gets health going in. And he also has Grasp of the Undying too, which will help his overall max HP.
Yeah, and his opponent is running Conqueror. Conqueror is a very strong spell right now. And as we are in game here, we are going to be changing a few settings here. All right, let's get this bad boy going. As we have the teams making their way towards the river here, generally we will see various teams or various players standing at different entrances into their jungles. As you can see there, red side, UCM side has spread out and is watching for the jungle invade. Braum is stepping pretty close there.
We do have Nocturne watching over the mid instead of Syndra, so let's see if Syndra or Braum call each other out.
This is very volatile. If Braum throws his Q in there, he will know Syndra is there. There is no follow-up, so there should be no danger to either team.
Just a little light tap, just to warn each other.
So Nocturne is going to be taking his blue first, and Sejuani is going to be taking her red. Generally, you see jungles take the red or blue and immediately go for a gank because they have level 2, especially if somebody is overpushed. The Sejuani will be very dangerous. I could see her here ganking the Syndra. Syndra pushes pretty hard.
Oh yeah, Syndra will probably... we'll see if we can get a possible gank out of here while they grab their red and blue buff.
In the meantime, we're going to take a look here at mid. You see the Victor here. He is a very strong wave pusher, can push very quickly, and does high burst damage with his ultimate. As he gets a bit of poke off on the Syndra there. Syndra does proc her electrocute.
There's just going to be a lot of damage early on for this level 1 fight. For the viewers who don't know, though, Vector does have his own item that he starts building off of that increases his ability power.
That is true. Very special item there just for him. As we get a bit of poke there on the Nasus, Renekton seems to be winning early here. Not by much, but he does have more damage on his opponent there.
As we can see, the Nocturne and the Sejuani are starting to move up to their top jungles now. Nocturne with this red buff will probably try to see if he can get that gank off of. Oh, we got a ping mid lane though. See if they can possibly get a level 2 hit.
As Syndra misses her stun there, we do have Nocturne coming in, trying to get a bit of poke there. Syndra does proc the electrocute. Victor turns around, gets some great damage on the Syndra. Syndra has to back off. Minions were destroying her there.
I was actually quite surprised that Nocturne got his ability off. It didn't quite look like it hit him, but the black missed.
As Victor almost takes out the Syndra there with his laser. As Nasus is here taking a lot of damage from the Renekton early. As Sejuani is in the river, she could make her way up to perform a gank on the Renekton there.
It's always so hard to see who's actually winning top lane with the Renekton and Nasus because they look like they're low on health, but they always just seem to get back pretty quickly.
We do have pings coming out from red side warning Renekton to back off. They do have that river warded there, and I'm glad to see that from UCM because last week they did have issues with vision control.
It looked like Renekton was going to go back for an early, but it looks like Nasus pulled up.
Renekton is jumping in on the Nasus, gets a big stun and Q off, forcing Nasus to flash, and he is needing to return to the fountain there.
That's so bad for Waldorf right now because, I mean, the flash gone. All Renekton has to do is get a stun off. If Nocturne's nearby, that's going to be an instant kill.
That is definitely going to be an instant kill there. We do have Syndra and Victor still fighting away here. Victor does have a CS lead. He has a 10 CS lead on this Syndra here. That is not looking good for her because the lane is pushed in the direction of Victor. So she is having trouble.
It seems like all lanes are actually pushed in.
Victor is pushing in on the Syndra. Syndra gets a stun on the Victor. They both proc their runes there. That is a very volatile lane. I do expect somebody to die there soon, especially if there is jungle intervention.
We do have the Sejuani looking at her chickens right now, so that could possibly be an opportunity right
Victor flashes in on the Syndra. Easy Q. That is a dead Syndra. First blood going over to Waldorf as Sejuani is going in on the Nocturne. Nocturne does secure the Scuttlecraft. He does not get – he flashes in on the Sejuani, auto-attacking her, and that is a dead Sejuani, 1-1. As Leona is jumping in on the Ashe, Ashe needs to back off. Leona is taking a lot of damage. She decides to turn and run. Braum is stacking the passive on the Misfortune. Ashe with the Eternal Slows. Braum with the flash onto the Misfortune. There goes the heal from the Misfortune. Nocturne is coming in. He misses his Q. That is a dead Braum there. Great, great gank there from Nocturne.
Now, that was just a lot going on. And if you didn't see, we have we have 3 flashes from Waldorf's side down, and we have the Ignite and the heal from Ashe just completely wasted.
And I will say, we were just talking about vision control. If this team here, if Waldorf had the river brush they're awarded, they would have known Nocturne was coming in.
Oh, yeah.
They may have backed off of that and not lost the kill, as Renekton is jumping in, getting some poke damage on the Nasus.
I mean, that Sejuani was trying to get the scuttle, but she wasn't able to get it, so they just had nothing.
Yep, and UCM secures the first dragon. That is an ocean dragon there for them. Love to see it there. Love to see UCM making some plays. They are up by a solid 600 gold.
And that's a great gold to have right at the beginning.
Yep.
Every little bit helps.
It's 100 gold a minute. Now Nasus is having a bit of trouble here. He is down in CS on this Renekton. Nasus does need to do well in order to stack his Q. Love to see Renekton there pushing in the minions into the tower. That is just less minions for the Nasus there. Leona is here in mid, hoping to get something off on this Victor.
Sejuani is waiting in the jungle, though.
Leona does hit her Q. She hits her stun. There goes the cleanse from the Victor. Syndra hits a long-range stun on the Victor. Victor ults the Syndra, stunning her, hitting her with the laser, and that is a dead Syndra. He now has his eyes set on the Leona. Leona goes in with the Nocturne ult, and that is a dead Victor. Great ult there from Nocturne. Great communication between those two.
Victor thought, he's like, oh, you got 2 people on me? Well, I'll just be able to, take care of both of you. And so since they got the Syndra, he was getting a little overconfident. It was like, I'm going to go after this Leona too. But little did you know, Nocturne was level 6.
He would have gotten that Leona, I do believe, if Nocturne did not turn around or come to the rescue.
Oh, yeah. But I think that's why she turned around.
Yeah.
Was Nocturne was like, hey, get on him. I'll come in.
Great communication there from UCM.
Oh, yeah.
Love to see it there. UCM is close to 1K gold lead after that kill. They're currently at 800.
We do have Sejuani looking at the top brush, but looks like she doesn't want anything to do with it.
Now, Ashe needs to be careful. Braum is not in lane here. as he does make his way there finally. Neither of these Misfortune has hit 6, but nobody else in this lane has their ultimates yet.
While they are pushed up, the UCM did ping that they believe Sejuani went into their top jungle, so that's probably why they're pushed up right now.
Nocturne is also making his way into the enemy jungle there. As Victor is making his way over, Nocturne just may catch a pick here. He hits the Q. Can he get in range for... Victor does not get the stun off on the Nocturne, but Nocturne does get the fear off on the Victor. I believe that should have been a kill. That was a kind of a lapse in communication there.
Syndra could have gone there just a little bit earlier. That probably would have been able to do the burst damage needed, but it was just Nocturne for the first couple seconds there.
Yeah, that was a bit of a weird interaction from UCM. Hope to see them fix that. But in the meantime, we have bottom here. Misfortune is absolutely destroying Ashe in CS. Ashe is close to 30 down. I don't know what she's doing down here, but it is not working out for her.
And since UCM did get the first 2 kills, Leona is going to go with Moby Boots to get that extra speed, possibly better stuns, better ganks.
4 engages there. She's very hard to
Which is why we
outrun.
did see her mid lane so early on. She just had the speed to get there.
Yep. Good roaming there from her. As this lane is still pushed in Nasus's, is that how you say that? Nasus's favor. He is going to freeze that lane there. Renekton may have to roam a bit or get some help from his jungle to push that lane. Nasus does have it frozen, and this is not the spot that you want to be in as a top laner. He is very far pushed up if he comes to collect his farm there and is susceptible to ganks, as he is going to be able to push the minion wave into the tower. Nasus decides to ult there. The Wither is still on the Renekton. Nasus is making his way to the Renekton, has to back off, cannot catch him. He hits a big Q on the Renekton. Here comes the Sejuani. She may just hit her ult. That is an ulted Renekton. He is frozen. It may just be Gator for breakfast, and that is a dead Renekton.
And that was a flash on the Nasus too, and the Renekton to, flash for flash just to make sure that kill was secured.
That was a great play there from Waldorf. Nasus's Wither is very, very strong. It is actually the only slow in the game that gets stronger as...
usually it decays.
Yeah, usually there is a decaying slow. Nasus's, the longer it is on the target, the worse the slow is. It allowed Sejuani to get in there to hit her ultimate, and they reap the benefits there. As both teams are kind of sizing up Dragon, too. Dragon is up here in 5 seconds. It is an Infernal. A very powerful Dragon there, increases ability power and attack damage.
And while the Sejuani is there, before that ward, they had nothing going on. UCM has all the coverage for wards going on right now.
As Ashe, she ults. There is the Braum on the Leona. Leona whiffs her ultimate. Ashe is kind of trying to back away a bit. Both teams are kind of pounding their chest around this Dragon. Waldorf does have drag priority now, and they will secure this Dragon. So the soul will either be Mountain or Cloud. We should see here very, very soon. Okay.
Yeah,
So
that ended up being a 4-3 fight. It was originally 4-4, but it seems like Syndra was less than half health, and she had no mana.
Renekton's getting some poke off on there on the Nasus. But yes, let's talk about this Cloud Drake. How does the Cloud Drake being on the map affect each team? Which team do you think has the most to gain from this Cloud Drake?
I was going to say UCM, but Nocturne can just go across walls with his ultimate.
Yeah.
So I guess it'd be more beneficial to Waldorf's side, who probably has not as great mobility.
And for those of you that don't know, Cloud Drake, when it affects the map, there are zones around each team's. As Nocturne is going here on the Ashe, Ashe flashes away. That just may be a dead Nocturne. He got too close to the tower. Braum procs his passive. He does not proc his passive on the Leona. Instead, it is on the Misfortune. There goes the heal from the Misfortune. Ashe is continually slowing. Braum is ignited and has to flash away. Leona flashes onto the Ashe, getting her ult off. Sejuani may be the savior that they need. Leona whiffs her ult, and that is a dead Leona. As Renekton is going in, getting big damage off on the Nasus, forcing him to ult. Nasus will be chasing this down, hits him with the Q. Nasus' Q is doing a lot of damage. Both brothers have ulted. This is a big fight. Nasus just barely.
I think he only had like 100, probably less than 100 HP.
That was an extremely close fight, and honestly, that is not good to see. Although Renekton won the fight, that is not good to see for UCM. That Nasus was about 50% HP when they started the fight.
Nasus was almost full, you know,
Renekton was almost full and still almost died there.
I do think that was partially because Nasus ulted way before the Renekton did. But still, that was just way too close of a call.
Those Qs were hitting very, very hard. Very, very hard there.
And going back to the previous bot side catastrophe that just happened, except for the Brahms Ignite, all summoner spells were used.
As Nocturne is getting jumped on here by the Victor, he does spell shield. He gets the fear off. He may be able to get this. He does cleanse and is not able to make it away. Braum shows up, having to back off. And as you can see here, Nasus has 192 stacks on his Q. He's doing at 13 minutes, that's an extra 192 damage on his Q. That is very nice. That is very nice. He's doing well for himself.
I do believe that Victor could have gotten away, but Ash just barely missed her arrow to get that stun off.
As Leona goes in on a very long Q there on the Ashe. She just may pay for that. Ashe has Eternal Slows, procs the Braum passive. Leona hits the ult on the Ashe. That just may be what she needed to get away. Honestly, I believe they should have chased that. I do believe Ashe could have recovered and they could have secured that kill on the Leona.
Ashe and Braum were almost full HP at that moment, so there was a good possibility. I don't think they had any idea where the jungler was at the time, so they were possibly scared of that.
I will also say that I love the Warden coming out from this Renekton. He has constantly had that jungle entrance in the river there to his south, warded to know if the Sejuani is coming. As Sejuani looked like she just cleared the Scuttle Crab there. But I do like the warding that is, and she does find the ward there from the Renekton. She says no more of that. She does not like that. So Red Team is making their way from the base. This game is going fast and furious. The gold is just about tied up. It is under 100 gold difference there. Both teams have 5 kills. Neither team has secured first tower. What do you think about that?
Hold up. We got a little fight going on. Victor gets the ult off on the Syndra.
As Victor gets the ult and the stun off, I'm glad you said that. I did not see that. Victor gets the stun and the ult off on the Syndra, and that is a dead mage. Syndra is now 0-3. Victor is definitely getting the best as Ashe ults the Misfortune, is continually slowing her and hits her with the volley. There goes the Wither, so strong on the Renekton. Nocturne comes in with the ult. Renekton is being focused. Nasus hits Nocturne with a huge Q. They may just chase under the tower. They do secure the kill on the Nocturne. Here comes Braum and the rest of the cavalry onto the Leona. Proccing the Braum passive, stunning the Leona. She is eternally stunned. She cannot play League of Legends. That is a deleted Leona.
I'm not quite sure why she was walking up there.
Maybe she thought
Nocturne
she could save her teammate.
gone. Renekton was under tower. Like, there was 3 people there.
That CC was absolutely monstrous. She could not play League of Legends.
And that all started with the Sejuani getting out the ward from the Renekton.
Yep.
UCM was like, hey, they might be trying to start Rift up here.
And as you can see here, Waldorf is securing the Rift Herald. For those of you that don't know, once you secure the Rift Herald, you get a talisman, token, eyeball, whatever you want to call it, that allows you to summon the Rift Herald in whatever lane you want, and it does massive damage to towers. I believe taking about a 50% to 60% of the HP off of the towers once it hits.
Whenever there's armor on the towers, they will always take two
Nasus
plates.
walks past the red ward there, and he walks past the red ward, and there is a teleport coming in from the Renekton. Nasus has to pay attention to that.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure why. Like, he could either whacked it, possibly backed off, but he's like, I'm just going to keep walking.
As Renekton gets in on the Victor, getting a big stun off, he has to back off because that Victor ult is so strong. Here comes Sejuani and the Cavalry. That is a dead Renekton. They're making alligator shoes.
I mean, the Renekton did end up flashing during that fight, and for some reason, he did turn around for a little bit, which caught him out.
Bad communication there from UCM. They will try to 4v5 steal this dragon. Here comes the Misfortune ult, missing everything. She was standing in the Victor stun radius when she ulted. doesn't get anything out of her ultimate, and there goes a second dragon to Waldorf.
And I understand she was pretty far back because she didn't want to get CC'd by any of that, but it looks like her ultimate was only hitting Braum.
Yeah. She has to pay attention to where she's standing before she ults. That was unacceptable there. Waldorf is beginning to move in on this bottom tower. Waldorf did also secure first tower. As you can see there, here comes the Rift Herald. This is a dead tower.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's dead before the Rift Herald even gets to it, so that's still going to be a full charge that they'll probably be able to get on the bot side tower.
And in the blink of an eye, Josh, the gold lead has gone to almost 4K in the favor of Waldorf. As you see, Nocturne is moving in from behind, ults onto the Sejuani. That is a dead Sejuani, gets onto the Ashe. Ashe is feared. 500 gold picked up from her. This should be a dead Braum unless he gets to the brush. That is great CC from Leona. That is a 3-for-0 trade for UCM.
They said, hey, we got the Rift Herald, we got a huge minion wave, and we got 3 people down here.
And
we can push this.
I believe I just said 4K. It is now down to 2K just from those 3 kills. Love to see that from UCM.
Oh, yeah.
Great. They are showing some backbone and are fighting back.
With that, bot lane will probably be able to get their first tier tower, too.
They should be able to. Sejuani, Ashe, and Braum are very far away, still walking in from their base, and that is a tower going to the side of UCM. Great. 150 gold going to each member on the team. That will be greatly appreciated there. Connecting, queuing onto the Nasus, doing a bit of poke damage there.
And bot lane did indeed grab their first tier tower.
They did. As Nasus ults, for whatever reason, I did not think that he needed to ult there. That's a big cooldown gone from the Nasus.
Maybe he expected that the Renekton to come in and try to stun him. I have no idea.
That was a big misplay from him. He does have 276 stacks on his Q. He's moving.
It's just going to get harder and harder the longer this match goes on.
The longer the game goes on, the stronger a Nasus gets. UCM does. Also, the weaker a Renekton gets. So UCM does want to sort of
finish this sooner rather than later.
Play on their win conditions and finish the game sooner rather than later. You are completely correct there.
We do. It looks like everybody is going to top side, though, except for the Syndra, who is split pushing bot side.
Both teams are posturing around this Baron. I don't think they have the guts to do the Baron at 20 minutes, but they are getting great vision on it. As you can see, red wards are there. Some blue wards are there for each team. I like to see it, as blue team should be sieging on this top tower. Nocturne is coming in from the side. Sejuani is there also.
Leona's coming in from the back.
Renekton goes in, gets a stun off on the Braum, has to back off. Ashe's damage is just too much for him to handle alone.
I mean, Renekton is all about... Oh.
As Nocturne gets a great off on the Victor, flashing over the wall with him. He is stunned. Victor flashes back across the wall. Leona whiffs her Q. If that hit, that was a dead Victor. As Misfortune and Leona combine ults, killing the Victor, but that is a dead Leona. She is tanking so much damage there. She is still alive. Misfortune is pecking off on the Sejuani, but they are just too tanky.
Was it worth it?
It was not worth it, but if Misfortune and Leona hadn't used their ults to pick the kill on the Victor and they had him in that team fight in that very, very small corridor in the jungle, I do believe Misfortune's ult would have wiped Waldorf out. Was that kill worth it, Josh?
I do not think so at all. I know that they wanted it so bad. They wasted so many utilities to try and get them. But especially with the Misfortune ult. Like, Misfortune and Leona ult.
Don't forget Nocturne ult.
Yeah, and that was the engage, and I totally understand that.
Yeah.
But they wasted 2 ultimates on somebody who's like less than 100 HP when they knew the rest of the team was up there.
Yeah.
And while it's like, oh yeah, we got our team too, Syndra's still pushing bot side. She got the 2nd tier tower, I believe.
Did she get the
yes,
tier 2?
She did.
Yeah, she did get the tier 2.
So they didn't even have a full team fight. Nocturne was already gone. I don't think they should have engaged on that.
After they spent a lot killing the Victor, Nocturne specifically, I don't believe they should have engaged there. I do believe they should have backed off. As Nocturne is ulting in on the Ashe, that is a flash from the Ashe. That is as Braum decides to walk into the entire UCM team. They are wasting their ults on him. That is a dead Braum. Victor is sitting here pecking off on the Leona. Leona blast cones over the wall, dies mid-air. Syndra is trying to get away. Misfortune and Syndra are able to make it away. Just killing the Braum there took a lot of spells there.
I mean, as soon as he saw that he face checked into a team, he's like, put up the shield.
Yep. And this is a third dragon going over to Waldorf. One more, and they will receive the Cloud Drake Soul.
I do have to feel a little sad for the Nocturne. Every person he's ulted, I believe the last 3 times he's ulted somebody, they flashed over a wall.
That is true. But I feel like he could have better communication with his team on his ults. He's been ulting to people who are very far away, and his teammates do not. Renekton doesn't have a massive dash there. Syndra doesn't have a dash. Leona has her Q. Misfortune doesn't have a dash. Nocturne can cover a lot more ground than his teammates can. He's way ahead of them.
And while I know that he does do burst down, he's supposed to burst people down.
Yeah.
He does go to usually full health people by himself at that moment, which doesn't help, to secure the kill.
That is true. Full-on game sense here. Renekton is up in CS. Sejuani and Nocturne are about even, as junglers generally are. Victor is about 50 CS up on the Syndra. Misfortune is about, as Waldorf is starting the Baron. They are going to clear that red ward, so UCM does know they are there. UCM may not make it in time. Waldorf is burning this Baron down extremely quickly. This could be massive. Huge miscommunication, huge misplay from UCM, and that is a Baron going over to Waldorf as Nocturne ults in. Misfortune whiffs her ult. Nocturne gets bursted on. Bad communication there. That should be a dead Syndra as Ashe hits her arrow, and Waldorf is going to push with this Baron, and I think that's an inhibitor.
Yeah, and a couple things to note during that. It was very hard to see on the camera, but you saw a little bit of a circle at the bottom. Leona used her ult, but I think she probably hit one person on the edge.
Leona has whiffed on her last 3 or 4 ults.
And I think the reason why they were so confident in taking Baron is that it's gone now, but they did have a blue ward in UCM's bot jungle, which caught out the Nocturne and the Misfortune at least.
And that allowed them to secure Baron. Nothing UCM can do about that inhibitor. That is Baron empowered minions, and that is gone. I do expect them to split here and siege both top and bottom, while the super minions siege mid. It is looking kind of drab here for UCM. They are now down 5K also. As you can see there, Nasus is to the point where he can tank the towers, and Nasus and Braum tank the towers plus minion taking another. It is now 6 towers.
Who needs a
to 2.
Baron buff?
Who needs it? Nasus is now at 378 stacks on his Q. He is hitting extremely hard. I do believe if he hits Misfortune, she will lose a quarter to half of her HP with
Because
one hit.
that's just adding on to his damage already, and he
base
probably
damage.
maxed out his Q first.
He did. As you can see there.
Yes, so that Q is doing ridiculous amounts of damage right now.
Look at him there, just running along. And as we said in Champ Select, Josh, 4 skins to 1. And
I'm not saying that skins equal wins or anything.
it's coming to fruition here. But overall game sense, Waldorf is winning. I do believe there's going to be a massive fight 1 minute and 35 seconds later here because the last Cloud Drake is coming up. UCM has to fight for that. If Waldorf secures that dragon, it could be lights out for UCM.
After that, their only hope is possibly stealing an Elder Drake and making
Possibly.
a turnaround. We do see some teams try to stall out that Elder Drake, so...
Yes. Misfortune tried to steal the Baron with her ult there, and it was just another whiffed ult. She has not gotten one good team fight ult off this game.
I mean,
her ult is one of their win conditions. If she's not hitting her ultimates, she's useless.
And in that last Baron fight, she tried to ult to try to steal the Baron away, but nobody was in that backside either.
No dice. As Nocturne is here on the side, maybe looking to get off a cheeky ult. Ashe has great positioning here, is hiding behind her big tanks there. So if Nocturne does decide to get jumpy, he will most likely die.
And Waldorf's just like, I'm just going to keep letting my Baron-empowered minion attack it. It
That
just
is
went
true.
off, sadly.
Just went off. But they are going to get this because UCM has to respond to mid. There are super minions there. As Leona gets off a great ult on the Victor, UCM is able to kill him. Renekton's in the middle of the team fight. Ash is trying to kite away. Sejuani and Ash both flash away. That is a dead Ash. Renekton is here fighting the Braum. This should be a dead Braum. Support fight there. Nocturne is chasing the Sejuani, but decides to back off. Big fight there from UCM.
And just as you said, finally Miss Fortune was able to use her ultimate to do massive amounts of damage, and they had to back off. They couldn't engage.
And Leona actually hit a great ult on the Victor, securing them that kill. Victor is a very high priority target. One of the strategies to, as you can see, Nocturne is here fighting the dragon. UCM just may secure this. Sejuani is on the other side of the wall. Hopefully, as Sejuani goes in, Nocturne is able to secure that. That should be a dead Sejuani. She is extremely tanky, but not tanky enough.
UCM will not let her leave.
But one of the strategies to use against Nasus, Nasus likes to split push. So if you have his team 5v4, engaging on the team 5v4 generally is a great method of winning the game there. If Nasus was in that team fight, though, I don't believe UCM.
That definitely would have been a lot harder to do.
Alrighty here. So we have Miss Fortune here clearing out her Raptors. Just trying to get a bit of EXP and gold there. She is running the Infinity Edge in the Essence Reaver and is working on her third item. She has the Zill there. Ash has the Blade of the Ruin King and the Run-In's Hurricane. It looks like she is also working on an Infinity Edge, increasing her damage by about 50% on her crits.
Let's see here.
We may just have a fight here in the jungle as Renekton does spot out Braum. Braum is chain CC'd. He cannot play League of Legends. Here comes Syndra. Braum is able to get away. He's just too tanky. He just may go back in and ult here. Decides not to pull the trigger.
And Braum's one of those champions where, I mean...
As Nocturne ults in on the Braum, Braum is very tanky. Hasn't died yet. Is still not dead. Here comes the Ash arrow onto the Miss Fortune. Miss Fortune is definitely fighting Victor. She just may die there. Flashing away, also healing back to her teammates. Here comes the Cavalry. Victor just may die. Renekton getting into the backline on the Ash, putting all he can into her, and she is still not dying. The Blade of the Ruin King lifesteal is just too much. Here comes the volley. Syndra is backing in on the Sejuani and Nasus. That was an odd team fight.
You could see the Renekton desperately trying to get to that Ash, but he just kept on getting CC'd,
Yeah,
and then the Ash just kept on lifestealing.
He got on her, could not burst her down quick enough. She's able to kite away and lifesteal with the Blade of the Ruin King.
I will say Miss Fortune did really good there. While the whole team was fine and Braum was very weak, they thought that Braum got away. Miss Fortune comes in from the side, ults, gets it, realizes that 3 people are about to jump on her, does her stopwatch, and flashes out of there.
That is, and heals. That was a very nice escape from Miss Fortune. Her ultimate, it was a decent ultimate. Her positioning could use some work. She should have been behind her tank line there so that she could use the entire ultimate. She did secure the kill on Braum, but was in the way of a Ash arrow and a Victor. 2 people you do not want to be stuck between. As both teams here are warding up Baron, and we should see a fight soon. This could be the game for either team.
Looks like Waldorf is the one that's able to get priority on their wards for Baron Pit, though, which is kind of scary for UCM, especially
Victor
since they're
is
not
coming
leading.
here on the side. Leona just may ult him here. She uses her ult, whiffs, and now a Sejuani is coming in on the team. Leona is caught out. She is deleted from Summoner's Rift as the Ash arrow from way downtown hits the Syndra. That is a dead Syndra, and that could be game. It is definitely Baron for Waldorf.
Nocturne might be able to steal it with his ultimate. Might be able to jump in and get one, but they don't have vision right now in the Baron Pit.
And as they're clearing out more vision here, great vision control there from Waldorf.
And Victor's making sure that Nocturne can't get close.
Nocturne takes big damage there from the Victor. He is going to fall to the Braum there. Braum decides to snatch a kill there from his mid. I'm sure they'll have a little discussion there after the game. But Waldorf secures another Baron, and they are about 6K up in gold.
And with 3 people down, 2 of them coming up shortly, they're just going to push it down mid.
They are. I'm going to ask you, what can UCM do as Renekton walks right past the full team for whatever reason, and that is going to be a dead Renekton. I do not understand that, but I'm sure his team is in his ear at the moment. I'm pretty sure that is going to be game there, Josh.
I do think that a couple of the issues that UCM could have worked on was, I mean, Leona ultimates were either the save or the engage, and she did miss quite a few.
She whiffed the majority of her ultimates.
But that Ash arrows
as Ash arrow hits the Misfortune, Misfortune takes a Braum Q. They are not going to engage on that. They are focusing on these towers. Nocturne ults in on the Victor. Victor is dead. Misfortune finally gets off the entirety of her ult, but it is just too late. Ash is standing there tanking damage. Braum is on the Misfortune. Misfortune may make it away here. Sejuani is absolutely, and Nasus is on the.
Nasus said, "You can do your team fights. I'm just going to keep whacking on the turrets and Nexus."
Nothing Leona can do. Nasus and Sejuani in the game, and that is a win for Waldorf. Josh.
I don't know what to tell you.
Waldorf, that was a great game. UCM fought them off pretty well there. Yeah. I love to see that there from them. What can they improve on to maybe win the next game?
Well, I will say we did talk about their wards, you know, being a slight bit of an issue, but I think that match they did a lot better job. I think they had a lot more vision, a lot more team fights were based off of that too. Yeah. I don't think really itemization was a huge issue there, but it was just that, like I said before, the Leona ultimates was either their save or their engage, and she just whiffed a lot of them.
Many. Yep.
And then with the Misfortune too, that was also one of the huge engages. She was supposed to stay in the back line, ultimate, secure objectives, and team fights, and I think she only got really one good one in there.
Yeah. UCM did have some issues there with their bot lane. Specifically, Leona whiffing a lot of ults. Also, Misfortune whiffing a lot of ults. Misfortune did, I believe, have a positive KDA at, I believe, like 4 and 2 or 3. But in the end, that means nothing if you lose the game. I do believe that UCM should ban the Nasus if they're not going to funnel kills into the Renekton.
Because I mean, the Renekton was doing well at the very beginning, but that's to be expected.
Yep.
That's not like a good or bad thing. It's like Renekton's supposed to win early on against the Nasus, and the Nasus is supposed to win later on. So
yeah, love to see it, but if they're not going to funnel into the Renekton, they need to ban the Nasus as as far as the game goes. The longer it is, Nasus is going to power up and going to become unkillable.
And something else that we need to talk about was the Nocturne ults. Because we did see a couple of them were really nice, but it seems like there could have been more communication with his ultimate, making sure that they were able to burst down the kills instead of letting them go away or him just inting into a person.
In the meantime, I do encourage you guys to visit our Facebook page at UCM Esports. We do post a lot on there. We love to communicate with our fan base. And if you are wanting to try out for the UCM Esports team, the deadline for that application is March 1st. So we do encourage you, if you want to come try out, to come do that. We also have Rocket League teams and Overwatch teams. So if you are adept at either of those games, come out and try out. We love to have you here.
Yeah. Anybody's welcome. We always welcome new people. We want to see people really enjoying esports.
Yeah, great to see it. In the meantime, we are going to take a short break in between games here, and we will see you when we get back. All right, guys, we are here and we are close to getting into the next match. So, this is between UCM and Waldorf. This is match 2. Waldorf is on game match here.
If UCM cannot pull out the win, this will be, Waldorf will be coming out with the win.
They will.
It's quite upsetting, but that just might be the case.
That just might be the case. But I do believe UCM has the ability to beat Waldorf here, and judging from last game, there are some great things that they can build off of to take Waldorf down. For instance, their warding was great in that match.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Renekton specifically, he was great there. We are into Champ Select. So let's see the first band coming out from UCM. And that is the orange band, as to be expected. He is in a very strong place. No need to continue
And the same with the
elaborating on
Mordekaiser
that.
band. Just the same from last match. Get those top laners that they're not comfortable with out of there.
Their Mordekaiser is specifically very hard to deal with. And there is the Victor band. UCM does not want to deal with that again.
I do not blame him.
I
Victor
don't
was
either.
pretty powerful.
He was extremely good at zoning out the team fights with that stun there. We saw a couple great stuns coming out of that Victor.
We do see the brand coming out again. Like I said, I'm surprised to see that. I'm surprised to see it again.
And there is the Vladimir band coming out again from UCM. I'm guessing that is probably towards their mid laner. They probably saw some statistics there that made them not want to deal with that Vladimir pick.
We do have the Elise coming out again. She's just a pain to deal with in the jungle. I personally wouldn't want to face her, so I understand why they ban her.
Yeah, especially early game. Definitely do not want to see that in the early game, as UCM is trying to make their first pick here. Let's see what they decide to draft the Renekton again. I'll be anxious to see if Waldorf decides to draft the Nasus again against that Renekton.
I don't necessarily blame him. Renekton did very well early game, and while he did, he does scale off, I think he still did fairly well late game.
He did do fairly well. He was tanking very, very well, but as we saw in a team fight in the jungle, he could not burst down that Ashe. That is what we were talking about.
And that was all the CC coming from the Victor and the Braum.
Yep. Later game, he kind of falls off there, as Waldorf does pick Ashe again. Let's see what their second pick is going to be here. I'm guessing it will
Braum
or Sejuani. I was thinking there is the Sejuani pick. Sejuani did perform very well last game. She has a great amount of CC and is very, very tanky.
Her ultimate's just a scary thing to deal with, and she goes full tank no matter what. So having just somebody who can tank the shots and be up front for the objectives is a very good quality to have.
As UCM decides to go with the Jinx this time for their ADC pick, Jinx is a very volatile ADC. If she can get fed, she will hyper carry your team. If she doesn't perform well, she is kind of a hindrance there.
And we do see from UCM, Elysian jungle. I'm happy to see that. Elysian is he will have a lot of early games where he just ward jumps and gets very quick ganks in. He does a lot of burst damage.
Yep. He can take over a game personally. He has very strong and capable hands. As Waldorf picks the Leona pick there. Last time we had the UCM pick Leona, I would love to see what Waldorf is going to be able to do with Leona.
Now from Waldorf, we do see the Janna ban coming out again, and UCM is doing the Corki ban. How do you feel about those?
Corki has seen better days. He was very strong, I believe, a couple seasons ago. It was Azir and Corki.
I remember last year was pretty rough.
But nonetheless, they banned Corki, and Waldorf has not picked their mid lane yet. So I'm anxious to see what they decide to pick there, as they do ban the Karma.
And here comes the Nasus ban coming from UCM. They're like, we do not want the brothers fighting again.
Yeah, they do not want to deal with that Nasus. He is very, very hard to deal with in the later stages of the game. I'm glad to see UCM make some changes there. I believe last week Set was an issue. They decided not to ban him 2 games, and we saw the results. Nasus was an issue, but they banned him this time. UCM is making great progress there.
Waldorf does pick the Darius, though. Just like Renekton, he is going to try and get lifesteal off of his swing with his axe. So we'll see if he can compare to Renekton.
Darius can be very, very tough to deal with. If he gets into the middle of your team fight and starts swinging around that axe, the Qs,
He won't
can
die.
heal. Yeah, he heals great amounts, and this will come into play. Itemization. Will you see him build grievous wounds versus this Darius there? I'm anxious to see.
Coming out of UCM, we do have the Nihilus pick for the support. Personal favorite support pick for me. I feel like Nihilus is good in almost every situation. He's tanky. He's got loads of CC. His ultimate allows him to get into the back line and CC the person back there.
Undodgeable.
Yeah.
Now, Nautilus is very, very strong right now. As Annie comes out from UCM, not a champ that we see too often in competitive matches, but nonetheless, UCM feels confident with that. And the Orianna pick coming out from Waldorf.
And just like her ultimate, she's a very confusing champion.
Orianna?
Yeah, Orianna.
Okay.
She's definitely very confusing. Annie's pretty straightforward, you know. She can use her Qs on minions to get her mana back, and then her engage is her ultimate, which is Tibbers, you know, get the stun off of them if she's got 4 shots ready. But with Orianna, definitely a little bit weird how her orb works, and if she can land her ultimate just right, it can be very devastating.
I think Orianna is going to be very, very powerful in this comp. If she applies her ball, command ball, to Leona or Sejuani, and they get into a middle of a fight, and Orianna decides to ult, that is most likely a dead Annie and a dead Jinx there. So I am anxious to see if Orianna gets off some great, great ultimates there. So in the meantime, we are going to play a LOL Basics video for those of you that aren't well versed in the game. Enjoy.
Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Mason, and I'll be going over the basics of the game before we begin. League of Legends is a MOBA, a multiplayer online battle arena. The game consists of 2 teams of 5 players, who will choose their champions to play as, each with their own special set of abilities. Each player has a specific role to fill in a certain area of the map, called lanes. Top lane usually consists of tanks and bruisers, characters that can take a lot of hits. Mid lane is usually for mages and assassins, who deal a lot of damage in a small amount of time. Bot lane has 2 players in it for each team, the AD carry and support. The ADC is someone that does a lot of damage from a long distance, and the support stays with them in order to keep them protected. Finally, the jungler has no set lane. They roam around in between the lanes in an area known as the jungle, killing monsters and jumping in to attack whatever lane needs help, an action known as ganking. The objective of the game is to push each lane forward, killing minions and destroying turrets that protect the enemy. Killing other players rewards gold, which can buy items and make your characters more powerful. The game ends when one team pushes all the way into the opponent's base, destroying this structure, called the Nexus, and winning the game.
Hopefully that basics video did help you understand the game if you're new or just joining us, but here we have our lineup for tonight.
In the top lane, we have 8-Bit Hypocrite. He is on the Renekton there. Love to see that. In the jungle, we have IP Slow. Awesome name we have there. In the mid lane, we have Bipit Flounder. He is on the Annie. In the bottom lane, we have J-Wire. He is on the Jinx. And in the support lane, we have It's You or Me. It sounds like a play on the champion Yumi.
Yeah, I do enjoy play on words for names, so I'm quite happy to see that.
All right, and while we're at it, Josh, let's discuss these team comps here. From first view, which team do you believe has the stronger team composition?
I think in team fights, Waldorf is definitely looking pretty strong with all the CC they have, and with the Orianna ult and the Darius ult. I feel like they'll be giant forces in nature, but if they can get that Jinx fed early on, she can be the win carry. She could be the hyper carry to win the match.
Again, UCM has picked a pretty immobile ADC. Waldorf does have Leona, so if this Leona is landing ults, it could be a very, very difficult game for the Jinx, I believe.
And hopefully that's what the Nautilus is there for, to help keep the Leona off of her.
But can Nautilus keep a wild Sejuani and a wild Darius and a wild Leona off?
Perhaps not. That's a lot of CC coming from them.
That is a lot of CC. If Sejuani gets a great ult off, that's probably a dead Ashe. I am anxious to see if
Leona, one of
Ashe
the
is
two.
running
Like,
cleanse.
I want to see that too. I want to see if she also go Arcane Comet or Lethal
Yeah.
Tempo.
Generally, I personally, if there's a Leona, I run cleanse, and Ashe is running, or
Ooh.
Jinx, I believe. Never mind. Sorry about that. Jinx is running the heal instead of the cleanse there.
Just like the ADC go-to summoner.
Yeah.
But I will say I'm surprised to see the press the attack on the Ashe.
Yeah.
I guess they're hoping to, with the slow of the Ashe arrows and Leona engages, to just keep on going and not back away from fights.
Yep. For those of you that don't know, press the attack. Once you hit 3 auto attacks, anybody else on your team hitting that opponent does do extra damage. So Ashe is going there for a damage rune, while Jinx is running Hell of Blades. After an auto attack on a enemy champion, she gains increased attack speed for the next 3 auto attacks. So Jinx can get very, very crazy with her passive and Hell of Blades stacked. I think it's make or break with this Lee Sin pick here for UCM. Hopefully he does well there. All right, as we are getting into the game, Baron spawns in 1940.
Hopefully we don't have to worry about that right now.
All right,
I am
guys.
happy to see Annie go electrocute
Yeah,
in a little
yes.
like fun match that they did the other day. Annie went Predator boots, and I was quite surprised. I'm glad
Yeah.
to see that they went back to regular Annie runes.
Annie is also running Corrupt Potion. Corrupt Potion is one of my personal favorites on mid lanes. It gives you 3 charges of a potion that restores HP and mana. Once you do return to the base, it is refilled. So you never have to buy potions again during laning phase when you really need them. So it is one of my personal favorites here.
And usually mages can't afford to take that, but because of Annie's Q, if she can land it on a minion and kill it, her mana will get, or a portion of it will get refunded back to her. So she really doesn't have to worry about mana consumption as long as her CS control is well.
And I would like to point out that Lee Sin is starting his blue instead of red here. Sejuani is starting her blue also. So Lee Sin could possibly gank mid or top right after blue, or once he hits level 3. I'm guessing after this he will be going over to the ground there.
Renekton did get hit a little bit by the blue, so Darius should be able to know that he was doing something in the jungle.
Yeah, and he is going to be clearing out his Gromp right after that. As you can see, both of these champs have Qs that involve spinning.
And healing.
Exactly. Both of them very, very similar Qs there.
This will be a very weird top lane where it's like a dance almost.
As you can see there, spin, spin. So which one of these guys do you think is going to be spinning to win?
If Darius can hit his hook and pull him in, Darius gets it.
Yeah.
But if he can't, Renekton can just go in with his dash ability and get his.
As you can see there, Annie did take big damage there from the Orianna. I believe Orianna did proc her Ari on that Annie, and Annie has taken big damage. She has already used a pot from her Corrupting Potion also. And she is running biscuits, as you can see there. She does have a biscuit in her inventory also. So she should be able
3
to
of them are running
sustain pretty
biscuits
well.
on UCM side.
Lee Sin is making his way towards mid. He did ping. He decides to back off to do his Raptors there. As Jinx gets a bit of poke off on the Ashe.
Waldorf spot lane is not wanting to push up, like not wanting to contest this lane. Hopefully they don't lose too much CS under tower, but we'll
As
see.
Annie is going in on the Orianna, does use her stun and doesn't get much damage off. Orianna did have a shield on at the moment, so Annie doesn't do much damage there. As Orianna gets big damage off on the Annie. As
Here
Lee
comes
Sin
Lee Sin.
is coming from behind, Lee Sin ward hops in, hits his Q, goes back in on the Orianna. Sejuani might be the savior that she needs. Lee Sin decides to back off.
Good engage by Lee Sin. Annie definitely overstepped probably a little bit too far. She was taking a lot of minion damage too. Luckily, the Lee Sin was in there to get the flash
As
off.
Lee Sin is here on the Sejuani. Renekton is coming in, also gets the big stun off, and this is a dead pig. It's bacon for breakfast.
And it's going to be the first kill over to UCM. Great talk in between Renekton and Lee Sin, engaging on that Sejuani.
That was very, very nice there by those two. Great start here for UCM.
And it did look like Ashe did lose a couple of her CS under that tower there, so Jinx is going to be leading up currently. It's not too big, but it can possibly lead to something bigger.
A lead is a lead, no matter how small. As Sejuani is in the bottom river, she looks like she's going to be clearing out her Scuttle Crab. She could make her way towards mid or bot after that, trying to secure a gank.
Now, while UCM's bot lane was pushed up pretty far, somebody did ping that somebody might be in that river, so they ended up backing off from it.
As bottom lane does look like they are engaging on the Ashe there. Ashe is forced to flash. Leona decides to go in 2v1. Jinx is getting some great damage off. Leona is just so tanky, but Ashe took big damage there. They caught her slipping.
Leona just went up into the river just a little bit too far, and like, we can make something out of this.
And left her ADC. That is something that you guys at home don't do that.
She had to waste her flash and her heal.
She did. Do not leave your ADC alone. Communicate with them. Let them know what you're doing so that they can back off there. But we do have Lee Sin in the Dragon Pit. He is soloing Dragon. They do know he is there. Sejuani is coming up. As the bottom lane is getting very volatile here, Nasus flashes onto the Ashe. That is a dead Ashe. Jinx is pecking away at this Leona. Leona has to flash away. Sejuani and Lee Sin were also fighting over Baron. Lee Sin was forced to back off there.
Sejuani was thinking about going to bot side, but after Ashe just got melted down, she's like, I can't help out.
And Waldorf would have Dragon priority if Ashe didn't die there.
Oh yeah.
Annie and Lee Sin are also very low. They cannot help with this Dragon if Waldorf does decide to start it. It's a Cloud. It is considered the weakest Dragon. So I mean, I guess in that respect, it's not that as Nautilus hits a great hook on the Leona. Leona is very tanky. She decides to walk the opposite way to save her teammates, and Jinx does have to waste her flash to secure that kill. I'm not sure she needed to really flash for that.
Lee Sin was still on the bot jungle, and Leona was only going to be going under turrets, so I think they didn't need to do that. But you know, get the Jinx to kill. I'm all for that. That's
a big cooldown there gone on the Jinx though. I don't necessarily agree with that flash, but she wanted to secure the kill. Solo kill.
We do see Darius leading in CS. Since Renekton had to teleport to the Dragon Pit, Darius just up top, chilling, grinding his CS. So now he has a wave and a half ahead of Renekton right now.
As you can see on the Leona, she has TWD on her name. What does that remind you of? I feel like it means The Walking Dead.
Does it? I actually don't know.
I don't know either, but I really like that name, Liz T.
Liz T.
I like that name there. As Renekton is getting a stun off on the Darius, gets a bit of poke. Darius at about 75% HP there. As Orianna gets a big ult off on the Annie and is pursuing it, she just may get the Annie. Annie walks away with 25% HP. As Darius does not want that fight, Renekton absolutely murks him.
Annie's stun just happened to come at the right time. If her fourth shot, which is always a guaranteed stun, if that wouldn't have came up, she wouldn't have gotten away.
And Annie is forced to recall. She is losing by 16 creep score there, Josh.
We do have Lee Sin coming in, though.
Lee Sin is on the Orianna, hits his Q, dashes into her. Orianna does not have ult. She just may run. Lee Sin taking big damage from the minions, but is able to secure the kill. It is 4-0 in the favor of UCM.
And this is what we need to see. A lot of their champions, either with the Jinx, who can hypercarry, or the Lee Sin Renekton, who do good early game, they need to get these early picks.
And UCM is up by just over 1K 8 minutes into the game. They definitely made some changes here, and it's looking very good. They're looking very clean. I do want to take a look at the gold here. As you can see, Annie is losing by about 600 gold to the Oriana. You don't want to see that. And Annie being down in gold isn't very good. She needs her power spike. She needs her items to be decent there.
Jinx and Lee Sin, however, have about a 700 gold lead on their counterparts, which is
as
just
Lee Sin is making his way into the bottom lane. Nautilus ults the Leona. Leona cues back to the Lee Sin, but gets stuck on the chompers. That is a dead Leona, and that is a dead Ashe. Double kill for the Jinx, and this is what we were talking about. She's very volatile.
Oh, yeah. And with this, Jinx is just going to be able to tear down turrets. That's her, like, her specialty. It's just melting down turrets. So she's going to get probably 2-3 bladings off of this.
And Jinx, her Q, for those of you that don't know, Jinx has a plethora of guns. 2 of her guns being a minigun and a rocket launcher. She is able to switch between those 2 at will. The minigun specializes as Annie is going in on the Oriana using her Tibbers and is not able to secure that kill. I don't like seeing that from the Annie. She's already falling behind there.
Yeah, sadly she wasn't able to get the kill, but her ultimate is pretty fast. She'll get it. I mean, it's only level 1 right now, but she'll get it pretty fast.
She will. But back
her,
to
her CS is so it's
almost struggling.
Yeah,
she's
Oriana's
struggling,
about
and
double.
Oriana just may kill. She just may kill the Annie here as the ultimate pulls her back in, and that is a dead little girl.
Yeah. You hate to see it. You
hate to see it. But back to the bottom lane, Jinx does have 2 guns, one being a minigun and one being a rocket launcher. As Nautilus goes in with the Q, not communicating with his ADC and decides to back off. Jinx's rocket launcher does AoE damage, and her minigun specializes in DPS, so dealing massive damage to one target at a time. What do you think about Jinx as an ADC?
You do have to mention, though, that her rocket does waste a lot of mana.
Oh,
so it's not like she can just continuously shoot those off. But it's definitely pretty annoying to have to deal with that because while you do see like a small visual change, you know, in her gun, she can just bust that out at any second. It's not like, oh, hold up, let me pull this out. No, it's a change real quick, shoot.
And this Jinx is dominating this lane. Ashe is down by close to 40 CS. Jinx has already completed her Infinity Edge and is going to be finishing those boots here soon. Jinx is getting very strong very quickly. Waldorf is going to have to do something about her.
Oh, yeah. I do think since they do have 3 plates off the bottom tower, it's only going to get harder to take those turrets. And while Jinx is a pro at it, if they can get this Rift Herald and put it in bot lane, that's a turret gone really early.
Josh, what can Annie do about this Oriana? Does she need help here? Should Lee Sin be prioritizing helping the Annie here?
Possibly. Oriana only has 1 kill right now, but whenever Lee Sin did engage on her the first time, which wasn't too long ago, he, as long as she didn't have her ult up, he could kill her just fine. So maybe he can try to see if he can do in a couple games, but they see the Sejuani and Leona down here.
As Jinx does hit a zap on the Ashe. Lee Sin just may be caught out here. He's caught between a rock and a dragon. He is backing away, gets a big kickoff. 2 ultimates wasted there to help get Lee Sin away. This may be a dragon for Waldorf. Lee Sin
still does have a ward, though, so he can ward off over.
Lee Sin is extremely good at getting in, stealing dragons, and getting out. As Waldorf decides to pull the dragon out, very, very smart move. It resets. That is not good for Waldorf as Ashe takes big damage from a Jinx zap. Waldorf is making mistakes here. Leona gets pulled in, not who you want to pull in. And he gets a big Tibbers off on the Ashe. Ashe is gone. Waldorf is having to back off. They are very, very low. As blue team there gets a 3-for-2 trade, and UCM gets the dragon. That was huge. As dragon resets again.
Now, that was very close for UCM. I was keeping my eyes on Annie. I was wondering why she was going in so far. It was to use her ult. Yep. But because she went in so far, Oriana's like perfect time to ult. Got 3 of them and almost bursted them down. I'm pretty sure 3 of them had less than 200 HP, and Leona ended up igniting the Nautilus, and he ended up dying to it. So that was like just another second of fighting, and UCM probably would have lost that.
That is very true. So that being said, I don't think that should have happened. That was played a bit badly. UCM did come out on top, but if a few things went differently, Waldorf may have won that. So
but that was the deal. Waldorf
that
did make it. I don't understand why they were. I mean, it sucks that the Dragon reset it. They weren't expecting for that to happen, but they were just letting Jinx just keep shooting zappers in and not really they couldn't really decide whether they wanted to fight it or they wanted to take the Dragon. I feel like them stalling really.
UCM is going to be acquiring this Rift Herald here. Rift Herald can be pretty big. If you can get a great minion wave along with as Sejuani is coming in to see if she can steal, Renekton jumps on the Sejuani, Nautilus hits the hook, Lee Sin jumps on the Sejuani with the Q, and that is more bacon for breakfast. Sejuani is not having a good time right now.
Sadly, the turret platings are gone though, so they won't be getting the extra gold that the Rift Herald could give them, but it's still a deciding factor in games. If you can get that turret pushed in, whether it's just 1 tier or 2nd tier, anything's good. Because you do get gold no matter whenever a turret gets destroyed.
And this Lee Sin pick is coming out to be big time for UCM. Lee Sin is 3-0 with 80 minion kills there. He is also up on the Sejuani by over 1K. So it is great to see this Lee Sin here putting in work as Annie takes massive damage, almost to 50% HP from the Orianna. As she takes more, this Orianna does not care. As Orianna ults and absolutely deletes Annie from the Summoner's Rift.
I didn't even think that was going to happen. I thought Annie was, safe a little bit. Orianna's just doing way too much damage.
Is going in on the Nautilus. Nautilus is forever CC. Nautilus has to use his ult. Leona's taking big damage. Jinx is getting excited. This may be a dead Ashe. One more auto and Ashe is put away as Sejuani is attacking the Renekton, forcing him to ult. Bad communication there from Waldorf as Lee Sin takes massive damage from the Orianna. This Orianna is going to be a problem for UCM. What can they do, Josh?
Well, I mean, she's AP and not AD, so maybe you can start building some AP, but everybody on their team who's going to be doing massive, Darius is going to be doing massive damage, and Ashe is going to be doing massive damage.
Sejuani is making her way up the river.
It's going to be AD.
Got to be very quiet, guys. As Renekton is able to make it away, Darius does with his slash there, his grab, whatever you want to call it, but does burn Renekton's flash. So that is actually no, Darius flashed in, so he burned his own flash there. Hate to see it, but such is League of Legends.
Lee Sin's thinking about maybe playing the Rift Herald up top.
Lee Sin does have Rift.
Nautilus is coming up to come and assist them.
As Sejuani is also there up top. So we may just see a tower dive here from UCM.
Here comes the Rift.
Here comes the Rift Herald. Sejuani is up here. Darius is trying to clear the minions. Lee Sin hits a Q, decides not to take it. Darius drags in the Rift Herald. Rift Herald does big damage to the tower. These two is a 2v3 plus the tower. Waldorf has to back off. They would have died there had they not.
Lucky two of them have a lot of health and or are tanky. So they were able to keep pushing the little bit of tower health without any minions. But early on, that could have spelled disaster if another turret would have hit the Renekton.
That could have. But this Orianna has only been in one team fight, and we've seen what she did. She has only grown stronger since then. She is an issue here. Oof. She is up to level 12. She is the highest level in the game. Her lane mate, Annie, is only level 10. Orianna is on pace to absolutely destroy the game.
We do have Dragon coming up in 5 seconds, though. That's
as
why
Leona is caught between the entire team and has to flash away. I'm not sure what she was doing there. Bad communication. As she is coming in to try to get behind the team.
They're going to see if they can just melt down that Dragon, though, before Waldorf can even come down.
They are eating away at this Dragon, and Waldorf has no answer. As Leona ults the Nautilus for whatever reason, Q's into the Renekton. That is a dead Leona. Sejuani gets kicked back by the Lee Sin. Lee Sin misses the Q on the Sejuani, but hits the Orianna, decides not to go in. Jinx has a double kill on the Ashe, and this may be a triple for her. Annie hits the long range Q, through the wall there. Love to see Annie with the long range Q there, Josh.
Jinx, whenever she gets excited, she just starts shooting faster and faster and faster. And she starts moving faster, too. So if you're low on health, you can't really run away from her.
She gains that range, too, from switching to her rocket and hits an AoE area around her target. So once she gets excited with that passive, she is a menace to deal with.
And I was saying that Jinx just might be their hyper carry, and she is 7 in 520 minutes in. That is really big.
Very, very nice. She also has the Run-In's Hurricane. For those of you that don't know, Run-In's Hurricane splits your auto attacks. The base auto attack does max damage, but the two splitting from that do, I believe, 50% of the damage of your base auto attack. So with that rocket, there will be 3 rockets coming out of her rocket launcher there doing nasty, nasty damage. UCM is on pace to win this game. If they continue performing at this level, they should be good. They have 3 dragons, 1 more dragon, and that is the Soul.
We do have Baron coming up in 10 seconds, so we might be seeing some wards game placed over there, maybe a potential play.
And we didn't talk about it, Josh. The Soul this game is the Mountain Soul.
Mountain Druid.
Who benefits more from the Mountain Soul?
I mean, you could say it's the tanks because it just gives them increased health. But, I mean, it's also beneficial to the squishies on the team. It gives them a little bit of extra shielding that could possibly save their life.
So, team-wise, which team do you believe benefits more from the Mountain Soul?
I think that would be Waldorf then.
Yeah, they're very, very tanky.
Yes.
As Nautilus does ult onto the Orianna, Elysian gets in behind the team, kicking Leona through her team, doing massive damage. Leona can do nothing but ult the Annie. Tibbers is whacking away on the Leona, and Jinx secures the double kill. This is going to be Baron for UCM.
That was almost a full team wipe. And
what?
UCM didn't lose nothing.
Was
they lost
Ashe
a flash.
Bottom?
They lost a what?
Was Ashe bottom?
Yeah, she was bottom.
I don't know why Ashe was
either bottom or bot jungle.
Why would she be bottom there when the Baron is up? Nonetheless, that is a Baron for UCM, and Ashe feels bad right now. Gets hit by a bit. As you can see, Jinx is absolutely disgusting. She's getting excited.
Too excited.
She is getting excited and absolutely.
And that's going to be tier 1 down indefinitely. They might be able to push this into tier 2 as Renekton pushes top lane.
This Ashe is 0-6. She is not having a good time. Jinx is a full item and a half up on the Ashe. There is nothing that Ashe can do. She is 100 CS up on Ashe, 21 minutes in, 100.
And you know, we were saying that Annie was very far behind. I mean, she's Orianna has double her CS 20 minutes in, which is not a good thing to see. But because she's gotten 4 kills, she's able to close that deficit just a tiny bit, if anything.
That is true. And that fight started off with the Nautilus catching the Orianna out of position. If they can get to the Orianna.
And right now, Orianna is their big
savior.
damage.
Yep. Their only hope here is the Orianna. If she is taken out quick, Waldorf has no chance. There is no damage coming from anywhere else. Darius is 0-1 and
especially since Ashe was bot lane. Yep. Darius is the only one who's able to do some real damage as of right now, and even then, it's really his ultimate that's doing anything.
And he is not able to get UCM low enough to really, really benefit from the resets that he gets on his ult. As you can see here, Ashe is in the side lane, just trying to scavenge some coins, some CS there. But she needs to move to mid, as UCM is going to be pushing down this tower here.
I'm assuming because she's 0-6 and her CS is so low, she's just like, let me just farm it out, let me just get some gold real quick, but it's really not helping with the team fights right now.
As Leona whiffs her ult, I'm not sure what she was aiming for. I'm not going to lie, Josh, Leona has not played well for either team.
She has not been performing well tonight.
She has not on either team.
This Nautilus, though, his hooks are pretty spot on today.
He has hit some nice hooks. There are a few that have been on Leona and Sejuani. Not 2 targets that you really want to hook, but nonetheless, they came out ahead, and this is where it's gotten them.
I mean, it's just like, especially during the laning phase with Jinx and Nautilus. Nautilus hooks them. Jinx puts the bombs behind them, and they got nowhere to go.
Nowhere. As Elysian is going in by himself in a 2v1. Oriana hits a massive ult on both of them. As Ashe whiffs her ult on the Nautilus, Sejuani also whiffs her ult. Leona is in the middle of the fight. Ashe is just pecking away at this fed Nautilus as Renekton comes in full HP to clean up. He is the janitor service. That is a dead Ashe. Darius is coming in to no avail.
I will say that should have never happened.
That should have never happened.
It should have been Lisa, Nautilus getting called out, and Waldorf possibly taking the Drake.
Yeah.
But now UCM
is just too far ahead.
Leona whiffs her ult. Sejuani whiffs. That's two of their biggest engages. What are they supposed to do after that?
Leona actually didn't have her ult for that fight. It is up now.
Oh, I thought she used it. That was my bad.
Yeah, but I don't think that would have made a difference here, and UCM did secure the Mountain Soul. That gives you a shield that regenerates after not being in fights with enemy champions there. So that is big time for UCM. They are on a roll, almost 10k up.
This might be an early Elder Drake then for the side of Waldorf, which might be able to save them.
If they can maybe catch a pick before Elder Drake, like right before it comes up, they may be able to secure it, but it is looking very, very uphill for Waldorf here.
It does look like it's going to be on the side of UCM, though, as of right now. 23-8, 24 minutes in is not looking hot. They are almost 10k gold ahead.
One thing, as Renekton is finding himself between a rock and a hard spot, this is going to be a dead Renekton. He is very, very tanky. He gets ignited. Darius chops him down, and that is the guillotine for the Gator.
But that just leads to the first turret in their base going down.
Inhibitor turret going down here. As Lee Sin insects into the Ashe and kicks her back, there's nothing that she can do. That Leona dies extremely quickly, and Jinx is still getting excited here, taking big damage. Sejuani, but Oriana coming in with her own.
Especially after the turret was taken and Ashe was for sure dead, Leona should have backed away.
She should have, but
that was just an easy pick for UCM to take there. And Jinx, it almost cost them Sejuani as well.
Waldorf is looking out of sorts here. They have nothing to answer the 12-0-8 Jinx. She is working on her fourth item. That fourth, and she does have 100% crit rate right now. So she is hitting extremely hard. There is nothing that Waldorf can do. And we were talking about that Annie, Josh, early on. She is now 4-2-9. I would like to see her work on that CS a bit, as Oriana has 220.
That's definitely something that the Annie needs to work on. But luckily, she has Tibbers, and she has the Force Stun, so she's still very useful in team fights.
She does have her stun there if hit on a Sejuani whiffs.
What?
Oh
I don't know. I don't know what to say about that one.
Waldorf is looking extremely out of sorts here. Sejuani whiffs her Q, whiffs her R. I don't know what she was aiming at.
That champion
there.
Was way gone after she shot
way
the R.
gone. FPS lag, maybe?
I have to assume so.
No, we're not going to say that. UCM just outplayed the Leona or the Sejuani there, and that goes in the favor of UCM.
And it looks like UCM has only lost one turret this entire match so far.
And they are 10K.
Which, like I said earlier, every turret counts as gold for everybody. So not even only having one turret is not helping their gold department on Waldorf's side.
And Jinx has completed her fourth item. She is now working on her fifth. Meanwhile, Ashe has not completed her second.
And it looks like only Lee Sin and Jinx, only two people that need to take Baron.
Man,
of course, everybody else is coming in, but they don't even need him.
Waldorf does set an ult. Sejuani may have a hard time taking this as Lee Sin is a higher level. UCM decides to get off of Baron and attack the Sejuani, securing Baron also. What can Waldorf do to maybe make this 12K goal lead a little bit less?
Especially since they have Baron buff right now, they have to defend. They can't do anything else.
They cannot do anything. This Baron buff just may be the game for UCM as they are sieging top there.
Oh, yeah. And we do have Elder Drake coming in 2 minutes, but I don't even know if they can survive 2 minutes.
Darius is walking in front of the entire UCM team, gets hooked, gets queued, and that is a dead Darius. Leona will also drop if UCM decides to turn on her as Oriana does hit a big stun on the two carries there. Sejuani hits her ult. Leona is queued onto. Sejuani is getting hooked by the Nautilus, queued onto by the Elysian, and that is going to be game for UCM as Ash gets styled on there.
And Jinx is still excited, trying to get
Jinx
the kill.
gets the kill in the fountain on the Oriana, and that is tie match point for UCM. It is 1-2-1.
I am glad to see that UCM was able to bring that back, but we are going to go to a quick ad, and we'll come back to third match in just a bit.
All right, guys, we are back. That game was a great game there. UCM was able to pull out the win, tying up the match here at 1-1. What do you think about that, Josh?
UCM really did bring it back. I was kind of concerned for them after that first match, but they completely obliterated that match.
Yeah, I think it was a Nasus ban there.
That Nasus couldn't carry late.
Yeah.
So that really ended up helping.
Oh, you mean the Renekton there?
Yeah. Well, the Nasus ban, came in.
Oh,
Nasus
yeah.
couldn't do late game stuff.
Yeah.
Late game Nasus.
Yeah, great ban there from UCM. They learned from last week to ban what you cannot beat.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the Nasus. I love to see if UCM decides to pick the Jinx again, or if maybe Waldorf.
They might ban the Jinx.
Because the Jinx was 15, 0, and 11.
Yeah, and that was just not something they could take care of.
They could not take care of that. Or maybe both teams stop picking Leona.
Yes.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Mason.
There.
Sorry about that.
There we go. Sorry about that. But as you can see, I don't think either team should pick Leona. Leona has been struggling immensely on both sides.
She's great for CC, but maybe possibly a Thresh. for
Possibly a
if you
thresh,
want that, because Leona just both sides haven't been able to really engage with their Q and land their Rs.
Yeah, or Thresh Braum. Maybe run that. Leona has not been doing well, which is odd because all of the ADCs have been very immobile.
Yes.
And Leona feasts on immobile champs. Yeah, so I would love to see what UCM does with pick and banning here. When we get into the game, we'll see what they can do here against Waldorf.
We'll see what they can do. Yes.
What changes do you believe Waldorf should make to do better here? And we are into Champ Select. We have Waldorf making their first ban. Anxious to see what it is. Maybe the Jinx? Maybe?
Mordekaiser again. They do
Mord.
not want that Mordekaiser top lane. I wonder what they're so scared of.
Mordekaiser can be very hard to deal with. When he does get ganked, he ults and becomes a 1v1. He comes out and kills your jungle also. So
And for some reason, Cleanse does not work on that.
yeah, but the QSS does.
Yeah.
Very odd interaction.
I've always wondered about that.
Very
We do
odd
see the
interactions.
Vladimir pick coming from UCM once again. I think that's a pretty strong pick. He can get pretty annoying, and he can decide team fights pretty fast.
And we do see the Victor ban, which I think is a very good ban. First game Victor did wreak havoc, so UCM is continuing that. And an Elise ban coming out from Waldorf again.
Yep. I mean, not too surprised to see that, but we do see the Corky ban coming from UCM again. And like I said before, Corky, I feel like he's not really in the meta right now. He was definitely strong about a year ago.
Oh my.
Ooh.
So Corky ban over Ornn. I'm not sure that was a very good idea here. UCM left up Ornn and Nasus. So either way it goes, Waldorf is probably going to pick a pretty good strong top laner there. Ornn is the best top laner in the game right now.
Yeah.
UCM may have made a mistake there.
Are we going to see another Renekton up top? Because, I mean, he might be able to smack him early, but late game Ornn's just going to be too tanky and have too much CC.
Yeah, I do think UCM did make a mistake there.
I think the
picking
Elysian
ban.
pick, though, very strong.
Very strong. He was very, very good on Elysian last match. He did secure quite a bit of kills there in the early game and allowed his Jinx to get pretty fed there.
And if Ornn wants to come up front, you know, kick him to the back, do some massive damage with his ultimate.
As UCM does pick up the Jinx again,
I am not
Jinx
surprised
is
about
ready
that
to
one.
get excited.
That did win him the match. I wonder what Waldorf will do in retaliation.
I do expect Waldorf, I would hope that they would pick Nautilus here. Nautilus is a counter to pretty much any ADC
Yeah.
with that ultimate there. Plus, they have the Ornn Horn.
Oh, yeah.
So I do, as he is kind of flexing on us right now, let's see what he's going to pick. He is hovering
They did end up
LeBlanc.
picking the Caitlyn, though.
They did pick Caitlyn. Very long
with the
range.
Braum, so that's going to be long range, and Braum's just going to be able to protect her.
He is.
So we'll see if Jinx can actually engage on that.
We will see. Braum is very good at protecting his ADC. We'll see if Jinx can chop through that shield that Braum puts up. Caitlyn, too, is very, very long range. Jinx, even in her rocket form, can't match Caitlyn's range as UCM locks in the Nautilus once again.
I mean, Caitlyn does, correct me if I'm wrong, has the longest range for an ADC? Or if not,
Caitlyn
like,
does.
yeah,
Yep.
Caitlyn.
Caitlyn and then Tristana once she hits like level 18. But UCM decides to ban the Sejuani this time. That is very interesting. Sejuani did not do very well last match.
She did do very well the first game, though. She definitely was a strong factor. So I wonder if they're just worried for 3 tanks to be coming out that they just can't burst down.
As Waldorf decides to ban Darius, they picked Darius last match. They do not want to go against him this match. I'm guessing they think he's a counter to the Ornn, but that is a very interesting ban.
Yes.
And UCM does ban LeBlanc there.
LeBlanc, very, very strong mid laner, so I do not blame that. With her dashes and burst damage, she goes electrocute, and you just can't outrun her.
There's nothing you can do about a fed LeBlanc. I play ADC, so I especially don't like LeBlanc. As Waldorf bans the Syndra, they don't want to deal with that that ultimate of hers, which is so deadly to any champion that is squishy. And
We do see, yeah, you see him coming out with the Renekton pick. I mean, you don't have to fix what ain't broken. And Renekton's been doing pretty hot. First game, he definitely did good at the beginning. Nasus just outscaled him. Second game, there was really no problems with Renekton. He got called out once, top lane, like 15 minutes in, but he did pretty well the whole entire time.
As Waldorf does lock in Warwick and Cassiopeia. Warwick, he can be pretty strong with his healing factors, and Cassiopeia is just a machine gun with the fangs there. And
we do see UCM, though, pick the Annie again. I do believe her ultimate engage was very useful for the team fights, but hopefully we can see better CS on her.
Yeah, I don't quite agree with that pick. I don't think that Annie really made any big plays there.
Cassiopeia is probably going to be going phase rush, as most do, and she'll just be able to run down the Annie.
Either phase rush or Conqueror there for the Cassiopeia. I don't know if you've ever played against a Conqueror Cassiopeia, but
I have not.
With the amount of fangs that she shoots out, the healing that comes out of a Cassiopeia is a Conqueror Cassiopeia is
I mean, she
unreal.
does a lot of damage too, so
yeah.
I definitely would not want to face one that won't die.
Yeah, I'm anxious to see what this is, but in the meantime, we are having a spectator delay. We are going to play our Facebook ad here for you. We hope to see you there. Our Facebook is at UCM Esports. We would love to see you there. We post pictures of the team, of the equipment, we also post game highlights there, and the application for joining the UCM Esports is there. The deadline for that is March 1st.
Next up, we do have our Discord channel. Don't be afraid to come in and say hi, where you can talk to, see what's going on with the players, and maybe end up talking to them and see what's just going on. Maybe see some highlights too.
Next up is our Twitter at UCM Esports. We post highlights, game vibes. You can chat with the team, chat with the coaches there. We'd love to see you come out and support us there.
And also, we do have our Instagram, where we'll be posting pictures of our teams and seeing what's going on. We do have Rocket League, Overwatch, and League of Legends, so there's plenty to see.
In the meantime, we are going to play a basic video for those of you that have not played League of Legends or watched. This video is very informational, and we hope you enjoy.
Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Mason, and I'll be going over the basics of the game before we begin. League of Legends is a MOBA, a multiplayer online battle arena. The game consists of 2 teams of 5 players, who will choose their champions to play as, each with their own special set of abilities. Each player has a specific role to fill in a certain area of the map, called lanes. Top lane usually consists of tanks and bruisers, characters that can take a lot of hits. Mid lane is usually for mages and assassins, who deal a lot of damage in a small amount of time. Bot lane has 2 players in it for each team, the AD carry and support. The ADC is someone that does a lot of damage from a long distance, and the support stays with them in order to keep them protected. Finally, the jungler has no set lane. They roam around in between the lanes in an area known as the jungle, killing monsters and jumping in to attack whatever lane needs help, an action known as ganking. The objective of the game is to push each lane forward, killing minions and destroying turrets that protect the enemy. Killing other players rewards gold, which can buy items and make your characters more powerful. The game ends when one team pushes all the way into the opponent's base, destroying this structure, called the Nexus, and winning the game.
All right, we are back. In the top lane, we have 8-Bit Hypocrite. In the jungle, we have IP Slow. In the mid, we have Biped Flounder. In the bottom, who is on that mean Jinx, we have J-Wire. And in support, we have It's You or Me. And need I remind you guys, this team was able to pull off the first map win for UCM in this tournament.
I'm glad to see that happen. You know, it's been a long time coming, and they needed this.
Great to see it. Love to see that there. We are loading into the game. Josh, what can UCM do to continue this sort of dominance that they had last game?
So, like I said before, I think that Jinx hybrid carry is what won them the last match. If they can do that again, they have the Elysian. They have the exact same team comp, to be honest. So hopefully they can get that Jinx fed. If Annie can work on her CS just a bit more, she'd be even stronger and more ruthless in team fights. So hopefully, as long as the Nala's can still get his hooks in and the Braum doesn't take up too much damage, they should be able to do it.
Yeah, that J-Wire on Jinx absolutely went berserk last match. 15 kills and 11 assists there. He had extremely high kill participation.
I don't think he died.
He did not die at all, yeah. 0 kills. Extremely high kill participation, and I do believe this match he is their win condition once more. So hopefully they can pull it off, protecting him, getting Jinx excited, and pull out the win here.
Hopefully the Ornn doesn't pose too much of a threat, though.
Yeah.
He is going Grass with the Undying, which I like to see that in Ornn. I know that hasn't been the pros pick lately. But we'll see if
getting into the match here. All right, we have both teams ready to make their first appearance here in this third and final match. It is 1-1 UCM versus Waldorf. Let's get into it.
Once again, we're going to have the Elysian pushing out the mid lane instead of watching one of the jungles. And I think that's just to ensure that they don't know where he's going to go.
Yeah, that could be true. Cassiopeia has not seen him, though. She is not stepping up away from that tower. Very smart there. I'm surprised to see that we haven't had any invades in this series here. No invades. Both teams have been very, very calm here in the early portions of the game.
I mean, the only one that could really do an early one this time is the UCM with the Nautilus hook. The Braum can't really do much for an engage there.
I think he can. If he hits that Q, the slow and the fact that you have your other 4 teammates there, you stack his passive pretty much instantly.
I guess
so.
so.
If you can get a Braum stun off on a high priority target, that target is 1, dead, or 2, going to have to burn flash. So one way or another, you're coming out on top there. But nonetheless, Waldorf decides not to engage there and are going to be taking it slow here. Warwick is clearing his red buff, and Elysian is also on his red.
So hopefully Elysian will probably be going to his Krugs next, and maybe we'll see. No, he's going to go to his bot lane jungle, not even his Raptors.
So he's probably going to go ahead and take his blue there. After he takes blue, I'm guessing he's going to go Gromp, and he just may gank mid or bottom. But he is going to collect his blue there.
Warwick also goes straight to his blue, just ignoring the other camps momentarily. Warwick does not have the best mana consumption at the start, so I don't blame him for trying to get the blue as soon as possible.
Renekton gets a little bit of... actually, he did not. Either Ornn healed that up or Renekton did not connect. Things are looking pretty even here in the early. Annie is down in CS. Do not want to see that. She is down by 4 here early. Hopefully she can remedy that there.
We do have Warwick moving up through top river that we might see a potential gank coming in from Waldorf.
Warwick is moving up through Tribrush. It is not warded. At the very least, he may be able to burn Renekton's flash as Annie takes a bit of damage there. She's walking directly up to the Cassiopeia. I'm not sure what she was thinking there. Takes big damage as Lee Sin is there. Maybe she was trying to bait. She does have her stun ready. Lee Sin is there, forcing the Cassiopeia flash. Lee Sin goes in on the Q, takes damage from the tower, is able to walk away. Cassiopeia has no mana. I'm not sure why she is following so closely to the Lee Sin, but Warwick is making his way to the middle lane there. Coming in hot. He flashes in. He gets his spear off. He's not able to do anything with that. That's a wasted flash on his part.
I mean, there was already a failed, it was on the minimap, sadly, but there was a failed attempt at top lane. Renekton, even though there was no wards, knew that he was coming in and was just able to get away without getting hurt. So Warwick was just probably hoping, like, oh, hey, there's a fight going on. Maybe I can be a part of that, and just wasted his flash because of it.
Warwick, he should... I mean, I guess they were really, really close to the tower also. So I'm not, that was just kind of a bad flash from Warwick. But he may remedy that, and it may not happen again. again.
We do
So
have Elysian
we'll
and
see.
Warwick in the bot side river.
Warwick is making his way towards Elysian. Elysian and Warwick are just sizing each other up, deciding to back off. Nautilus is coming up the river there, as Renekton gets big damage off on the Ornn there. Elysian is still there in river. Warwick knows there's a ward on Dragon. He's making his way through his own jungle there. They both decide to back off.
We do see this, you know, talking about the hyper carry for the Jinx. This lane is pretty much at a standstill right now, and that's probably what it's going to be. Jinx's rocket clear is pretty powerful, and Caitlyn's range is just too far.
Gets in on the Ornn, doing big damage. Ornn is at about 33% HP. But continue, Josh. Ooh, as Annie takes massive damage. She's at about 50% HP there. I do want to say that this Jinx is consistently ahead of the enemy ADC in farm there. Jinx is up 40 to 33 CS, so she is currently winning that lane there, and does have a slight gold lead by about 100 gold there, as Nautilus goes in on the Braum. Braum gets the passive off on the Nautilus. Nautilus is trapped, gets auto by the Q. Nautilus pulls Braum back off of his ADC. Jinx is getting jumped on, forced to flash. That's a flash from Caitlyn. That is first blood from Waldorf.
I'm surprised that the Nautilus didn't die. That's how I was expecting. Once Warwick came down, I was like, oh, Nautilus ain't going to survive this at all. But instead it was the Jinx that ended up dying.
Yeah, Nautilus walked directly up to the Braum, and that Braum passive is just so powerful. Knowing that those that you got a guaranteed stun from just autoing makes me fear the Braum there. And Waldorf is going to be able to collect this Inferno Dragon. That also means that Inferno cannot be the Dragon Soul. Now that it is the first dragon. And for whatever reason, I'm guessing for Baron, ooh, as Lee Sin is here on. What interaction was that?
It looks like he got clipped through the wall.
I'm guessing he got stuck in the wall and put on the other side. But but he is fast enough and has great enough reflexes to ward hop back over the wall.
Now, I was wondering, and I bet you were too, why the Ornn was all the way down there, and he had teleport up too, and decided to walk all the way back up, which just gave Renekton a full wave clear.
Yeah, dragon control. So Waldorf did collect that dragon, but he was there just in case anything broke out. He was in the middle lane. He was close enough to use his Ornn Horn, which has extremely long range. So I'm guessing he wanted to try to get Baron, or not Baron control, dragon control, as Renekton gets in and gets a bit of poke damage. And bot lane does see UCM here in their jungle. And they got real quick, real fast there. 4 of the members show up in the jungle, and UCM's forced to leave.
And I'm going to go back on the Ornn because I'm wondering, he did have teleport though.
Yeah.
Don't you think that if, you know, there was trouble, he could have just used his teleport instead of wasting all the time to walk down there?
But, I mean,
and all the time to walk back up.
If he would have used his teleport there, as bot lane does take a bit of damage there on the UCM side. Back to Ornn though, if he did use his teleport, he would not. He would give up teleport priority to the Renekton. So Renekton still has his teleport. If Ornn used his teleport, Renekton would now have a teleport priority on the Ornn. Meaning
that is true.
Meaning, yeah, if Ornn has to back at all, or Renekton has to back, Renekton's always going to get there fast as he gets a bit of damage off on the Renekton. Renekton has great timing on the brittle, on Ornn's brittles, because I believe he can't be stunned while he's using that brittle there. As they do proc Braum passive on a Nautilus. Nautilus is being pecked away at, and that is a kill for Dr. One Punch Blitz on the Caitlyn. Annie goes in and cute as Cassiopeia whiffs her ultimate. Annie is able to walk away. Great play there from the little girl.
I think especially since Leona wasn't working out, they decided to go with the more tankier support because Jinx can't melt them down this early.
As Jinx is taking big damage, she's just standing there with the... And that is a dead Jinx, a snipe to Dr. One Punch Blitz. She was just standing there taking the damage.
I'm not quite sure what to say, and like I said, Braum's just tanking up too much of it, which leads Caitlyn with a 2-0-1 lead. She has the best range for the ADCs, and that is not something that you want to have on a Caitlyn.
I'm not sure why Jinx is so far pushed up, knowing that her Nautilus was returning from base. Getting jumped on by a Braum without your support in a 2v1 is certain death. So we hope to see UCM remedy that, and we hope to see Jinx get excited again, because that did not excite her.
I don't know if you noticed.
As Warwick is chasing the Lee Sin. Lee Sin Ward hops away.
Warwick did take the Rift Herald.
Oh, he took the Rift Herald in the
Yes.
meantime. Very, very nice there. As Ornn uses his Ornn horn and whiffs it. I'm not sure what happened up there, but he did whiff the Ornn horn.
Now, something that I did notice that's not happening this game, that happened last game, was the Lee Sin participation. He did try to get the early gank for the Annie in mid, but I haven't really seen him do too much else. So nobody's able to snowball as of right now.
A bit of disrespect there from the Ornn, upgrading his items directly in front of the Renekton there. As he goes in and gets a big knockup on the Renekton, but he is about 33% HP. I'm not sure what he wanted to accomplish there.
And as we said last game,
Oh, and by the way, Josh, as Orianna gets kicked back into an Annie Tibbers, and that is a dead snake. It is snakeskin shoes
and that's
for Annie.
what I wanted to see from the Lee Sin. More engages from him. He's definitely, I mean, the Warwick is pretty scary, I'm not going to lie, with his lifesteal, but Lee Sin is just able to burst down, especially with the Annie who can stun with the 4-shot no matter what. That was definitely a good play.
Very, very quickly there. And as we talked about in Champion Select, Josh, Cassiopeia is running as Caitlyn's taking big damage, down to about 50% HP. Back to Cassiopeia, she is running Conqueror. Granted, she's not doing too hot in the kill department now. If she makes it to late game, she will be a terror. She's extremely hard to kill with that Conqueror rune there. Renekton is making his return. He still has teleport up. So does Ornn. I don't think he's going to use it right now, as the minions are in a fairly even spot up there.
That Drake is up though, and Warwick is able to get the Scuddler, so they are going to be getting control of vision in that area.
And Ornn just might use his teleport here, as you was talking about. As you were talking about Last Dragon, Ornn may have to use his teleport as Renekton is already there. Braum is going in on the Lee Sin, hits a Q on the Annie, knocks up the Lee Sin as to stop him from stealing. Blue team secures the Dragon. IP slow goes down to the Warwick. Warwick fears 3 enemies, flashes away, and may walk away scot-free with the Dragon as Renekton flashes in and slices and dices. That is a dead werewolf.
Yes, and it's kind of hard to see, like, who really won that engage there. Of course, Waldorf did get the Drake, which is great. Dragon Soul will be coming up next, Drake.
Not next. Oh, you're talking about for the map?
Yes.
Yeah, yep, for the map. It should be here. Actually,
Oh,
it's
it already
Ocean.
happened. Sorry.
Yeah, Ocean there.
Ocean, which I actually love Ocean. You get to see more brushes and more of those healing pods, honey bushes, coming in. So hopefully we'll see the junglers. Oh.
As Lee Sin hits a Q on the Cassiopeia, insects her back into a Tibbers once again. It is deja vu for Cassiopeia. She died just that same way a minute or two ago.
Oh, yeah. It's pretty crazy to see because, once again, Annie's not having the best CS score. But just like last game, she's killing it in the kill department.
But I will say her jungle is putting priority on her lane.
And that is what's happening.
Yeah, IP slow here is absolutely destroying on this Lee Sin. His kicks and insects are going ham, as the kids say.
Sadly, though, we aren't seeing the Jinx get the kills that she really wants. So we'll see if the Annie is able to cut for this, make up for the slack that last game had.
Yeah, Caitlyn has finished her first item. Jinx has not finished her first item. So Caitlyn is ahead with 2 kills and 2 assists there, as this tank lane is absolutely boring, if I'm honest at all. Both of these champions are very, very tanky. I don't expect to see a 1v1 kill coming out of either of them.
I love seeing a combo come out from Ornn doing no damage.
Cassiopeia is getting big damage onto the Annie. Annie has to back away. She's losing more CS there. It is 103 to 82. Renekton is fairly pushed up. He has 1 ward set there, but I'm surprised to see that Warwick hasn't really paid much attention to this Renekton, especially with the dragon down there.
What I was going to say, though, is I love seeing the Ornn combos come out. He hits Renekton with everything, but the only thing that actually does damage is the Brittle auto.
Explain how that Brittle works. Does it do percentage? As Warwick gets a long ultimate off on the Renekton, and Ornn whiffs the Ornn horn. What in the world
Nobody was
that?
even trying to contest with him. All he had to do was press R.
Very, very bad communication from Waldorf there. Warwick ults Renekton basically under tower, and Ornn whiffs his Ornn horn. Even if he hit the Ornn horn, they weren't going to kill Renekton under tower with his ultimate up.
What you were asking though earlier with Ornn's Brittle.
Yes.
I don't know what its skills whenever he levels up. I do believe it's somewhere around like 13% max health.
Of their max health?
Yes. Or max health.
He's also unable to be disrupted during that move too. So if he times it well, he can be very, very disruptive in his own right towards your team's CC abilities there. So Ornn is a very strong pick right now, and he is doing fairly well up there. Granted, he's 0-0-0, but the power from Ornn comes from his passive. Would you like to explain that to people?
So Ornn's passive, what it does is that it gives him a 10% increase to armor magic resist from all sources, which is great because all you really do with Ornn is build armor and magic resist. He can also increase 2 of his items that you can upgrade them without spending money, so that helps.
As Nautilus does ult the Caitlyn, misses the hook on Caitlyn, but hits the Braum. Caitlyn gets a big, big snare off on the Nautilus. Decided to back off though. As Warwick is here on the Renekton. Renekton slices and dices away. That is great CC there from Waldorf. They may be able to finish off this Renekton. Warwick hops on him as Elysian kicks the Braum back into his team there. Elysian dies there.
And Flash has to wait. I mean, Jinx has to waste her Flash. I get the Lee Sin was trying to make a play, but why would you want to kick the Braum?
Yeah.
I mean, they're just going to focus the attacks on him. Yeah. Caitlyn's not hurt at all.
And that is a 2 for 0. Lee Sin dies and Nautilus dies there. That is the first bad play that I've seen from Lee Sin this series. But
I mean, we didn't see the full play, but it looks like Caitlyn did use her Flash during that fight. So maybe Lee Sin was going after the Caitlyn and just couldn't
get there, yeah. As Waldorf is going to be collecting their 3rd dragon, nobody from UCM is around here, so this will be an Ocean Drake. One more dragon, and they do collect the Ocean Soul. Waldorf is doing very, very well on objectives there.
And that's something you do not want to see in a Warwick. Every attack that they're going to be making is going to be healing them.
On top of, as Nautilus hits a Q onto the Ornn, I believe they could have went in on that. They had pretty bad communication there. I don't believe Jinx was ready for that, but nonetheless, they will be collecting this Rift Herald here.
It did waste Ornn's Flash, though, so they did get something out of it.
They did get something. Plus the Rift Herald there, which they are going to be giving over to Lee Sin. He may just use it right at top, honestly.
I was going to say, unless Ornn teleports to top right now, they are going to get that top, and Ornn is going to be teleporting top.
And I would like to say, I believe that's the first teleport that we've seen from Ornn. Both of these top lanes haven't really utilized the teleport too. As Ornn goes in on the Renekton, doing pretty good damage. Renekton taking a bunch of damage from the tower. Tower is down. Lee Sin is going in on the Ornn, but he is very, very tanky. There goes the ward hop kick. Back. Ornn using the Ornn horn. Warwick may be able to come in here and do something useful. Warwick ults, missing the Lee Sin, hitting the Renekton, and has to flash away. That's a Q onto the Warwick, and that is a dead wolf.
And that is what we need to see from UCM. Their top lane and jungler just were able to not only push in their tower, they wasted the Ornn teleport, and they got 2 kills from it.
as the team is going here. Nautilus does Cassiopeia. Braum hits the ult on both Nautilus and the Jinx. Cassiopeia flashes over the wall to get onto the Jinx. That is a dead Jinx. They are turning their sights back to Nautilus, and Nautilus is going to be sent back to the depths of the ocean.
And that's not what you wanted to see from UCM as well. Sadly, bot lane this match around is not doing as hot, so we are going to be looking for the Annie, Elysian, or Renekton to make the big plays out of here.
Yeah, Annie is going to have to step up here. Her ADC cannot carry her this match.
Her CS is doing. She's already passed her CS from last game.
She is.
So
she is.
I'm glad to see that. She's definitely doing a lot better in that department.
She is.
And she's building what? I forgot what it's called.
She is building. You're talking about the ring right there,
yeah.
right? I don't remember what that ring is called either, but
I know
it does build into Magi's.
Yes.
The more kills you get, the more stacks you get on the ring, and it increases your AP. Granted, if you die, you lose stacks at the same time, but it is a risk-reward item there.
And right now, Annie hasn't died yet, she's got 2 kills with it. So
and an assist.
Yes.
She does have 5 stacks on that ring there, and anxious to see if she decides to turn it into a Magi's.
Unless she gets full stacks and she doesn't die, I don't think that's going to happen. But you know, I'd love to be proven wrong.
See Waldorf here clearing out some wards around the Baron. Definitely not trying to do the Baron at 20 minutes. That would be a death wish there.
Yeah, UCM is, I know they just cleared some, but UCM is lacking on the warding right now. They have 1 ward in their top jungle, 1 ward in their bot jungle, and that's it. Waldorf, though, has warding all over the objectives right now.
They do. As Elysian gets hit with the Q there, no follow-up, so he is able to walk away scot-free.
And we do have Drake coming up within the next minute, so we could either see a Baron or a Drake play come into play.
We have 1 minute and 10 seconds until that Ocean Dragon comes back up, but
it might be Dragon Soul.
There will be a fight for that. UCM has to at least contest this Dragon here. They are down by a full 2K and down by 3 dragons and 1 tower. They are down 2-1 there, so UCM is needing some objectives here, and this dragon could be what decides the game.
I know that mid tower and bottom tier first tower just needed just a couple more hits too.
UCM is already here at the dragon pit. They do have priority. They do have a red ward in there. They know it is not warded. They are warding all over the place. If they can get a pick here on that Caitlyn, that would have been huge. I don't know if Nautilus saw her though. Both teams are here waiting for the dragon to come up. Blue team is able to clear out that ward there as Nautilus does take a bit of damage. Elysian lands a Q on the Cassiopeia, flashes, misses his ultimate. He is going to pay dearly for that. There goes the Ornhorn onto the Renekton. UCM is getting absolutely destroyed here. And he takes a Braum over the wall there. That just may be the dragon for Waldorf. It is 3v5. UCM does land a nice hook onto the Cassiopeia, but she is able to walk away. I'm surprised those Jinx chompers there didn't catch that Cassiopeia.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised too, but the Cassiopeia was full HP. And she has Conquerors on, so she was just able to get away from that situation. No problem. And that's going to be Dragon Soul for Waldorf.
Yep. They have now gotten the Ocean Dragon and are a full 3K up on UCM. So they are doing very, very well. They are now pinging to go towards top lane, hoping to take out that last tier 1 tower that they need.
With that, they might just be trying to set up for Baron too. Get the top wave pushed in. Their mid lane's already starting to push in. So we'll see where that ends up leading.
They could try it. I'm not quite sure Caitlyn has the damage yet for them to try it. She is very, very close. I'm guessing actually when she recalls that she can pick up her. Oh yeah, she definitely can. She has
2,000 gold.
She is 2,000 gold up on Jinx. She has 1,000 in the bank now. She is going to recall and pick up that Infinity Edge. She's going to get very strong very quickly. It is looking pretty drab here for UCM. Hopefully they can pull it out here though.
And you were right. Caitlyn goes back and picks up the Infinity Edge, no problem.
And she is already picked up some attack speed in the form of, I don't quite remember the name of that item, but I do know it gives you attack speed. I believe 5% there. So she is powering up fairly quickly here.
Are you talking about the Storm Razor?
No, I am talking about the second item from the left there. Little orange dagger.
Oh, the dagger, oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah, gives 5%.
Sorry, I thought you were talking about Caitlyn.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, Caitlyn. Yeah. But I do not remember the name of that item. As Waldorf is going to start the Baron up, and UCM are on their way here. Honestly, I don't know if they have the damage to just burst down this Braum here as the Horn comes in and does not hit anybody. Elysian is posturing around the back of the Baron, hoping to get in there and steal it. The rest of the team is around the front, hoping to put in some damage. Elysian gets in, kicks Warwick away, but Waldorf is able to get the Baron down with the Caitlyn auto attack. I'm very surprised about that, but Renekton is in the middle of the fight, taking big damage from Caitlyn. Caitlyn ults the Renekton. That's a dead Gator. UCM has to run away. That Ornn is just too tanky at 2-1-1. Josh, Lee Sin had the opportunity to smite the smite the Baron there. Instead, Caitlyn is able to secure that with an auto.
Yep, and she is 7-4. We are literally seeing the exact opposite of last match with the ADC carries. Caitlyn is just doing so much damage right now that Lee Sin is one auto is going to be chunking him down probably 1/4 of his health.
And she's going to be doing even more damage as Ornn just upgraded her Infinity Edge. Like we were talking about, a lot of power comes from Ornn's passive and the fact that he can upgrade select items for his teammates. Very gold efficient there. But back to Lee Sin missing the Q and having Baron being taken by a Kate auto attack there. We don't see many bad plays coming out of this Lee Sin, but I fear that was a bad play. Hopefully it doesn't get in his head too much. His teammates can talk him up, and they can get back to trying to win this game here.
Luckily, Annie still has her stack. She still hasn't died yet, so she is still able to do a fairly decent amount of damage. But right now, it's not looking the hottest for UCM.
It is not. They could have jumped on. If Annie would have flashed, and I don't know, she has her stun up now, so she would have got it with 2 spells there. But if I were her, I would have flashed onto that Cassiopeia, securing that kill there, just to kind of stagger the push here that's going to be coming from Waldorf's Baron Empowered minions. But I'm not playing. She is.
We are seeing what Ornn does best, and that's just split pushing bot side. Annie's going in to try and retaliate against that, but it seems like, especially with Baron buff on the Ornn still, that he'll just be able to keep pushing in.
Yeah, he's very tanky. Annie is not going to be able to deal with that himself, especially with Ornn's Abyssal Mask. Gives him HP and magic resist. He is very tanky at the moment. Honestly, I don't think anybody on UCM's team can deal with that Ornn at the moment. Jinx has 2 items. She's not doing too bad, but there is a fight under the tower. Waldorf is taking a lot of damage there. I'm not sure what they were thinking. Jinx does put out a lot of damage there, but the kill is picked up on the Warwick. That is a 1-for-0 exchange. Warwick does, or UCM does come out on top there.
As we see, we're just going to have the Baron cannon minion just try to take down this turret. And this might be the start of something big. They're going to have to back off. It looks like Baron buff just went away.
And I will remind the viewers, Elder Dragon is up in 43 seconds. If Waldorf gets that Elder Dragon, I do believe it is going to be game, as Cassiopeia is putting in a bunch of damage on Lee Sin, the Blind Monk. Renekton decides to go in, gets a stun off on the Braum. Not who you want to be stunning. Renekton takes big damage. Lee Sin goes in with the Q, does get away with the shield hop. Not sure what Lee Sin was thinking there, but he did not pay. Jinx does have very good wave clear. Maybe she can hold them off here.
With Elder Dragon coming up in 13 seconds,
as Warwick gets a very far ult off on the Jinx. I'm not sure what he was thinking. He is going to pay dearly for that. And he does summon Tibbers. I'm not sure that was necessary. But I'm Nautilus did get caught there on a Caitlyn trap. Caitlyn's traps can be very hard to see when there's a lot of things going on. He does step on that, and he does pay with his life. Poor guy. And that puts Waldorf up.
And they're looking for Elder.
Yeah, about 7K here, and they just may get this Elder. I think they can do, as they should be able to catch out this Cassiopeia. As Jinx misses her zap. If that hit, that was probably a dead Cassiopeia. That's a big miss there, because now Waldorf has 5 members for this Elder Dragon here. If they could have caught that Cassiopeia, it could have changed who's going to get this Elder.
Right now, Caitlin's just going to set up her traps. Something it's annoying to deal with whenever you're on that enemy team. You can't get past it. You can't destroy them.
Waldorf is burning down. Here comes the Ornhorn. Renekton is stunned. He gets into the middle of the team and dies. Elysian does kick as he steps on a trap and is finished off by the Braum. Braum goes back in, ults the Annie, ults the Nautilus. Nautilus is stunned by the Braum passive, and that is a dead UCM team. 4-0. As Cassiopeia is making her way around, she just may catch the Jinx. I think Cassiopeia is going for the win here. I think Waldorf is going to go for the win as the teleport is coming out from the Ornn, and that is going to be game. It is 1 Jinx versus 5 Waldorfians.
And there's no way, especially she's 0, 3, and 6. There's no way she's going to be able to even stop one of them.
Waldorf is pushing the Nexus. That is going to be game. UCM put up a valiant effort, tying it 1-1, but it is sadly going to be game here as the cavalry is coming out of the out of the fountain there, and the execute from the Elder is just too strong.
And we did get to see the cool animation, the Elder Drake at the very end there.
Yes,
I don't know if you saw
the
it.
dragon breath, or
It's such a cool thing.
That was a very good game. UCM just got off to a bad start. Jinx couldn't get fed. She did have 6 assists. Generally, you want those assists to be kills on the ADC there. She could not get those. So.
And Annie is just not somebody who could hyper carry.
Yeah, I
for
mean,
the whole
she
team.
can, but just
You'd have to place your Tibber ults pretty.
very, very nicely. Yeah. Out of those few matches, I did not see any big ults coming out from the Annie there. But all in all, UCM has a lot to look forward to. They did take a 1 game off of the series from Waldorf. That is very, very nice on their part.
And I think this has definitely been one of their better series matches compared to the other ones.
And before we go, I do want to remind you to visit our social media. Our Facebook is...
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. My name is...
Just 1 second there. There we go. At UCM Esports, I do encourage you to visit. We post a lot there. We post game highlights. We post interviews from the players, various things like that, and the application to apply for UCM Esports teams. The deadline there is March 1st. So if you would like to join one of the teams or try out, March 1st is the deadline. You can find the application on Facebook. We also do have Rocket League esports teams and Overwatch. So if you're adept at those games, don't be afraid to come out and try out.
Oh, yeah. Love to see you out there, and maybe, one day we'll get more games out there, too.
And this has been UCM Esports signing off, and we'd love to see you next time.
See you next time.